Thanks for
We're
coming with
back.
me. Introduce yourself a bit one more time.
Yeah, sure. So second time over. I'm Tom Luma, Western Australian Palutena man, the guy who made it out of Tasmania
The
before Newt.
second newt. Or the
Yeah,
first
and
newt. First newt, actually.
the first Newt. Yeah, I did it first.
How would
Yeah,
you
but
want to be referred to? Luma, Tom,
Tom or Tommy is good. I
Tom or
like both
Tommy?
those quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, cool, cool, cool. All right. So, Smash 4 vet, right? Let's
Yeah,
let's
playing
start
since
from there.
2015.
2015. We were talking about how time moves fast, right? So,
Yeah, dude, it's like that's 7 years ago already. It's about to be 8 years ago.
yeah.
That's too long, man.
Does it feel that long? Do you
I think.
remember like your humble beginnings,
Oh,
Tom?
I remember all of it. It's
Yeah.
it's not that long ago.
Okay, let's start there. Let's start.
Yeah, sure. So like, well, 2015, I ended up joining, like most people do. I joined with a friend group who everyone just wanted to be the best in their friend group, and then we all joined at the same time.
That's insane.
And they're the other Hobart people that you might still remember. So like Sayhnim, Ripto, Varos, that whole
No
group.
way!
Yeah,
Really?
dude.
You
We
started
all,
with them?
yeah, homies since high school. Some people primary school,
Holy fuck! I didn't know this.
and then we all came up as the goats. It was constant like competitive drive, just trying to be the best in the friend group, and then that goal was actually hard to obtain because we all got actually good. Like we
Right.
all actually ventured into competitive Smash.
Damn. That's in I This is such a shock to me. Okay,
Yeah.
no offense to Sainem and friends. I legit thought they were like ultimate babies. So I was like, "Oh, cool." Um
They've been around. I mean,
what the
well, Ripto
fuck?
got
Sorry.
33rd at the last Smash 4 BAM. Like,
Ripto,
we're
dude.
kind of making it work.
My apologies. Actually, I'm so sorry, fellas. I didn't know
They've gone
this.
under the radar for long enough, man. We're
Holy
used to it.
shit! Wow. Okay. So, dude, how insane! That's so awesome that you guys still going at it, and you guys have that camaraderie with you. It must be so nice seeing them at majors, right?
Oh, dude, it's so sick. It's like already the reconnection with regular friends, then it's like seeing Smashes and seeing
From
the
high
people that.
school as well.
Yeah, dude, and they're like the reason I'm any good at the game. Like, if there was no Sanem, there's no fucking Luma at this point.
Oh my
So
god.
it's such a, it's like a memory blast. Like every time I go to a major and I see them, I just instantly get hit with like the hundreds of locals I attended fighting these guys in grands. Like it all comes back to me, and it's fun.
That's awesome. Man, and now I'm in a bit of an emotional state. You've pulled a fast one on me, actually. Shit.
It's
Yeah,
where it
no,
all started, man. To get
I
some
met
connect.
them for the first time at Big Cheese, like this Big Cheese.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they were just lovely. Sainem actually went up and was like, "Hey, you want to get some games?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And I think they had a Lucina, or they had old mate Spewers, I think, who played Lucina, and so Sainem wanted to prepare for that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're Sainem. I watched you at Tassie FighterCon, you know." Luma was, sorry, not Luma. Newt was so scared of you, and then
Dude, Falco, I was scared as well, man. Me
yeah,
and Newt have similar bad matchups. Falco's terrifying.
yeah, Falco is not a fun character to verse, but that's so cool. So
It's a sick story for sure.
yeah, well, it's so surprising how common of a story like joining the scene because of your friend group is. Like Connor's like that. I know so many people's like that. The Arista chat, like Finn, I think is like that. They've
Yeah.
talked about it a few times. I didn't really get that. But I think that's really well. Actually, I kind of did. Like, I don't think uni counts because I think I
Hmm.
associate my JML uni friend group, like they weren't my friends before Smash.
Yeah,
They
okay.
became my friends. But yeah. And so that must have been in your tiny pond, a really deep fucking pond,
Yeah,
considering you
it was
guys were
crazy,
like
dude. You
just
like join and then like the skill still like rises with you. It's
yeah.
like
But it's not
so
like there's so many people, right? It's just you guys like continuing your own little meta, right?
yeah, like I mean people like came and went from the Taz scene. Like when we joined, it was quite a decent scene. There was like 40 plus locals, like 40 plus entrant locals.
Oh. Oh
And then
shit.
it like quickly dialed down and we had like a stagnant 20, and then there was the top players at the time who were like Smash 4 vets, remember, like Crash got like 15th or 13th the first Smash 4 BAM. So there were some like decent players,
Crash. Okay.
and then once they like cycled out, there's
Any
like people
any
would
other
come in,
shout
come out.
outs? Any other
Zed's my goat.
old
Zed still
head?
remembers me, dude. I've like a
Zed.
lot of the people that yeah, he's tagged Zed. A lot of the people from that time, like, don't compete. They haven't competed since like early Smash 4, and they still like message me when I'm at majors, like congratulate me and shit. It's so nice.
Oh, what?
Yeah, but they were
That's
like the top players at the time, and then like whenever they left, like our friend group still stayed.
that's amazing, actually. Oh my god, that actually warms my heart.
The Tassie come up is very wholesome for like majority of us. I'm sure
Well,
like the same sentiment shared with everyone else as
we
well.
will get to that. We will get
Yeah.
to that. I do want to talk a lot about Tasmania. But yeah, so do you? I guess like one question I'll start off with is do you Oh, actually, this introduction. So when did you decide to want to get competitive, and for what reason? So you say right, like you want it. I guess it's because of your friendship group. You guys were all kind of competitive, and you guys
Yeah.
were like, when did it move from your friendship group to locals? Like, what was that
Well,
transition like?
we all kind of picked up the game like Smash 4 with the intent of at least being competitive versus each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With each
So
other, right?
yeah, so a lot of them had like played Brawl with each other. I played Brawl with my own small friend group in primary school, and then as soon as I found these guys, I'm like, okay, these guys are playing Smash 3DS, and they're actually like considerably better than me at the time. It's like, okay, well, shit, I need to,
I'm gonna
need to
step up my
it up.
game.
And then I think they started attending locals a little bit before me. We all kind of started attending just before BAM 7, so that was whatever BAM 7 was.
Right. Okay.
And then
Do you know who won that one?
that was, isn't it?
Was that
Josh, isn't it? Yeah,
Was that
yeah,
V?
Vilnius. Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay. Holy shit.
that's the very early one.
Okay. Okay. I see. I see. I see.
And then yeah, my first tournament was a convention, as a lot of people's are. That's where I got the tag from, actually.
Well, give me the origin. You know.
All right, origin of the tag. It's very simple. I mean, I like Mario Galaxy a lot, but origin of the tag. I needed a tag at this convention tournament, and I happened to buy a Luma plushie like 10 minutes prior. So I just had it in my hand. I was like, yeah, get it chopped.
Really? Oh, how
Yeah.
spontaneous is that? You bought a Luma plushie and you're like, yeah, Luma.
Yeah, fuck it.
Did you play Rosalina in Smash 4 at the start?
Not at the start. I did pick up Rosa like for a little bit, just because she was
You had
broken
to,
as all
right?
hell. But
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I was like, because of the sentimental reason, right? And then I was like, oh wait, I forgot she was disgusting.
Yeah, I don't really have much connection to like characters because of their like IP or like sentimental reasons.
Right.
Mario, I think, is just coincidental. I do like the Mario games a lot, but I just played them from the demo because you only had like 5 characters to choose from on the 3DS demo.
So
I just went Mario.
I guess you just like the plushie, right? You're like, oh.
Yeah, well, I liked Galaxy, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I got this thing. We'll just keep it going.
Cool. My laptop is freaking out, so I think I'm gonna have to drop that. But
That's so good.
it continues. So, do you have I guess at what point were you like, okay, like I'm getting pretty good, but I have a goal. I want to beat X player, or did you guys have like a ranking or anything? Well, what give us like a
Yeah.
bit of your milestones, I guess.
I mean, while I was joining, there was already PRs in the scene because
Okay.
a few RTOs at the time were Brawl vets and
Okay.
like some of the better players. So we did have like already that foundation
That
there.
precedent set.
Yeah. And I remember, I think Ripto was the first one to make it onto a PR. He got like 9th in 2016. I think.
First one to make it.
Yeah, he was the first one, and then we all kind of realized it was possible.
You're like,
But,
hang on, if like our friend, you know, this guy who's like, you know, bad, I can beat him all the time, can
Yeah.
make it, then maybe I can too.
I mean, it's like the homies. It's like, I don't know, you see it with Newton Connor. It's like your homie, even if they are good, you just want to talk so much shit on them. You want to be like, I'm so much better than that guy.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Like just
But-
the competitiveness.
Yeah. But with my goals, I remember like, I feel like I'm just the hyper extension of like best in my friend group because I've always just wanted to be number 1 at the group that's like directly in front of me.
Yeah.
So like, I never aimed for like getting top 8s or like getting 10th on the ranking or whatever. It was always just like, as soon as it was possible, I want to be best in the friend group, then first at tournaments, then number 1 on the PR. It was always just number 1.
Yeah.
And then I kind of followed that. It was pretty easy as like college started, which in Tasmania, year 11 and 12 is split up into college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So it's like some American shit. But yeah, when we had that, all our same friend group went to the same college, which was in the city, and coincidentally, like a walk away from our venue.
That's so good.
So like
That's
during
broken.
lunch breaks, during free lines, we're walking down to the venue, get as many games as possible. It's like if you're late to the setup, you're waiting a rotation, you're hogging
Oh,
every game you can,
shit. Yeah,
and
right.
that's when like the grind was real. Cause it's like we would meet like other people that worked in the city, like people that were still top players from like the start of Smash 4. Would get them to meet us there during that lunch break, and we'd just like get as much practice as we could.
Oh, and you just go to this venue like whenever, because
Yeah,
were they just
it was
open?
like there was always setups there. It was like it's like kind of good games esque. It was just like a comic
Oh,
book building.
yeah, that's kind of weird. Like they just have like there's just the place you can go to play
Yeah,
on a
they were
Wii U
super
Smash.
homey.
That's pretty sick, right? They must have been pretty chill with like a
They were pretty chill.
bunch of regular gamers who really like Smash Bros all the time. Oh man. And I think there's a really cool kind of humble beginnings thing where like everyone that sweats or like that's really good now, there was a point in time where they had to like fight for scraps, you know? But
Oh
like
yeah, for sure.
you that like you look back at it now and you're like, you know, that teaches you something, you know? It kind of builds that like hunger or it's got a cute kind of like uh hunger, right? I guess is a good
Yeah.
word. You know, like oh, rotations, man. Fuck, I have to win
Yeah.
every one of them, you know. Cool.
There's like signs of that drive that continued on from like the start of Ultimate. Even there was like a bit of a gap at the start of Ultimate when the Smash 4 boys, like my original friend group, weren't playing. So I would
Mm.
still do the same thing, but I would just go in during my work break, and there was a player at the time named Craw who would go in during our work breaks and just play for an hour at lunch. Like even that just still continued even when the boys weren't playing.
You know what's a really fun fact? Shout outs to Crawl. I
Shout out to Craw.
actually met Crawl completely cool. So JML was like my uni group, right?
Yeah, I know about JMO.
Yeah, cool. It's actually really funny. We had this one kind of during our mid-semester breaks in uni, we actually like
Yeah,
would book EBS, the EBS venue, and then we'd like just like have like a bunch of friendlies, and we actually did like a crew battle like every
yeah,
time. Actually, it was
that's
pretty
sick.
cute. It was pretty fun, yeah. And we're all just a bunch of casual competitive gamers. Like I was like sweating out, obviously, right? But it was cool. It was early ultimate, you know, really early
Yeah,
ultimate, and I remembered there was this guy, and he was like, "Oh, you guys play Smash? Like, cool. Where are you guys from?" And we were just like talking about, "Oh, we're like, we just play Smash out of uni, you know? Like, oh, do you want to play?" And it's like, "Oh, he's like, yeah." And he's like picks up Ness, and he's just like owning us, and we're like,
he's kind of crazy.
you know, like this guy's kind of sick with it. And he on the crew battle, he's just like kicking ass, and we're like, "What the fuck?" And he's like,
Dude,
his
that's so
tag's
sick.
Crawl. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Where are you from?" It's like Tasmania, and like that's it. Like and he's just like, "Thanks for the games, guys." And then he was super chill. And I always remember that he had the blue patches Ness. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
later on, I figured out that guy's Tasmanian. That guy was just here, like, and he was like in the scene. You know, I was like, "What
yeah.
the fuck?"
He
So
was
fun
such a
fact.
carry for the scene. He was such a homie, man.
He
Rest-
yeah
I mean, he just doesn't play the game anymore, but like he
yeah
plays classic WoW. He's like 34. He has other things to do, so it's like, what are you gonna do?
yeah. No, super cool guy. First, yeah, just the funny interaction. I thought was kind of cute.
Yeah, I never knew about that. That's so sick.
Yeah. Oh, not many people do. Um, but okay, so you got PR, and then you wanted to inevitably get first. I'm assuming on the Tasmania PR. How hard
Yeah,
was? Can you talk a bit about the journey there?
I can go through it. There is a bit of like a gap because that was kind of as I started to get good, the Smash 4 like top players at the time started to leave the scene. So I'm actually not sure if there was a PR between me not being on it and me being first. I think there was like a year gap where there was no PR, and then all of a sudden, bam, I'm just there.
Yeah. Right.
But
Damn.
like the grind was definitely a steady like obviously all those hours during college, and then like inevitably I started getting. I remember I had this tournament in Smash 4. Like I was still a young lad. I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my first win on one of the top three. We had like our three guys who were just way better than everyone else.
They're like the Vic gods equivalent.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think I think my first win was like Rosa versus Ness, so it was a bit,
Oh
you know,
shit.
bit of a cheesy one. But I remember that got me top two at a tournament, and that was like such a big deal. And like while I was like waiting for grands, my mom coincidentally like rang me on the phone. I was just explaining to her that I was in top two of this tournament, and that was like a big deal.
Oh.
And then, like at the time, I won like a $50 store voucher, and like that's so much money for a little boy. I was like, I'm
Oh.
buying board games,
That's
I'm
so
buying
much
fucking sweets.
power,
I'm like,
man.
dude, I'm so
Holy.
powerful.
What am I
I've been
gonna
through the
do
next
with all
5 levels
this?
for free? Like it's crazy.
Shit. Damn. And hey, it ended up being Rosalina, you know?
Yeah,
Like
I guess so actually.
coincidentally, right? Like Galaxy's serving you well. Maybe that was a sign, you know?
Maybe,
Damn.
man, maybe.
Do you want to talk about like I guess did you do anything like how did you practice specifically to reach
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of peak in your scene?
I think like at least coming up to the point where I was like just starting to become number one in Tasmania before there was any sort of Oz travel threat or anything.
Hmm.
It was just head against the wall playing every hour I could. Like I remember I got like 2,000 hours in Smash 4 so quickly just from obviously all the hours whenever I could at the venue, and then I was just at home playing CPUs, and I was like
CPUs, huh?
perfectly down to play Wi-Fi because I mean as most people born in the year 2000 do, I played a lot of Call of Duty growing up, so I'm like, okay, I'm used to playing online games. I
I
don't
definitely
care.
did as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Did you and you did end up playing a lot of Wi-Fi's?
yeah, a lot of Wi-Fi. I
Yeah.
remember like also just the drive to like hit combos kept me coming back because when I played COD, I was like the sniper trick shot guy.
Oh
Was
my god.
yeah,
I
I was
was
like,
just
dude,
a regular like AR dude. I just wanted to
uh,
get high KDs. That was it.
I mean like that's how I realized like games had scenes and like tournaments or things. I'd like watch like Call of Duty like YouTubers who like had a community of like
Nature.
all this cool like
Op-
videos and
Optic
shit.
Predator. Holy fuck.
Yeah,
Oh.
and then like it quickly trips from Call of Duty montages to Smash 4 montages, and it's like, oh shit, okay, well now I can hit combos in this game. I want to be cool as shit as well.
Dude, yeah, it's like the Kami pipeline, actually. You're just
Kinda,
like,
yeah.
I just wanna, hit this cool Mario upper combo. That's it. Actually, yeah, it was funny. Like I when I started out in Smash 4, I also looked up like really cool combos. Or I was like, I think there's a thing that many kind of noobs will like look towards, or like inexperienced people, right? I mean, they don't have any semblance of neutral, but what is the most apparent thing in their eyes are like the combos. You're like, oh wait,
Of
that
course.
confirms into this, into this, into this, and then you just like hit them, and you're like 80%. Like what the fuck? Like that's really cool, you know? And it's just like, and you get the cool editing, like the douche. You're like,
That's like the
I need to hit
highlights you
that.
see. When you first start seeing tournaments, you only see the clips of people getting these huge combos. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I have to be doing that to win.
Yeah.
And that's like what the crowd likes. That's what everyone's happy about. That's what
Yeah.
makes me happy. What I like watch it about like giddy. So I'm gonna be doing that.
Yeah, I mean that's what yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, like I always wondered why combo fixation was so big for a lot of experience. But maybe that's it, they just like they see something really cool and they want to emanate that. Like they want to
Yeah.
replicate that, especially if they don't have like a previous FGC background. Because I knew
Yeah,
like
so
some other
with, like, new
people.
Smash kids, that's how like Alpha Red and shit like make that money. You got Mario forward area, you got little Z combo videos.
Dude,
It's like
yeah,
they just see
like
the basic, and it's like, damn,
that
that's
that's
so
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess like yeah, just grinding way more than everyone, and like doing like whatever it takes. And you played multiple characters, from what I'm kind of
Yeah, we all
interpreting.
did. It was pretty degenerate, but like I remember, well, at the start, it was definitely a can of picker's fantasy. Like I
Yeah,
remember finding out that Rosa could up throw rapid jab Falcon and did 50%. I'm like, that's so much damage.
up
I'm just gonna
throw.
play Rosa. Yeah, against fast falls, you'd up throw and
As
then
is this
Luma
a
rapid
zero?
jab. Yeah, dead zero.
Oh,
Dead zero.
okay. Because I'm just like, but I guess like Smash 4, it wasn't like like this knockback. It was like they get popped back up. Yeah,
but
that's
they
pretty
barely go
degenerate.
anywhere. It's not
Hey.
a tumble or anything, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of damage. I love that. Well, Mario had down throw up to infinity.
Actually,
So I was
the
already used to
first
the
ever
normal
combo
combos.
I did, like I played in the Wiimote, and the Wiimote sucked. You had tap jump, right? But I realized that if I did down throw and I held upwards, then I could
Yeah.
buffer up tilt, and that's how I could get tap throw up tilt
And
over
then
and
you
over.
just keep pressing it.
Yeah, and I was like, this is sick. I'm just doing a combo. This is so cool. Yeah. Damn. So who put in the most work in your roster?
It was Mario like from day one. Like
Mario?
Mario was the demo character. He's the only character that stuck the entire time.
Yeah.
I played like Peach, Luigi, Game and Watch, Donkey Kong, all these different fucking characters for a lot of the game. But Mario
All
was the one
Mario
that stuck.
characters actually.
Yeah, a lot of
All
them were
Mushroom
Mario
Kingdom
franchise.
characters. You must really love Mario.
They were the like the easily like the appealing ones because they're like easy to play. And it's like okay, well
Like
I don't really
cookie
need to
cutter.
learn much. I can do the combos like right off the bat pretty much.
Yeah, cookie cutter characters, I think.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And who did Ripto and Sayhnim play?
Sayhnim most of the time was Sheik throughout most of the game. Ripto was like he's still the same. He's just a low tier guy. He played Bowser Jr.,
Bowser Jr.
DDD,
Oh,
like
mate.
any Kirby, any character that sucked he could find. He was like, okay, I'll play that.
Why do you think that? Like, why do you think low tier gods exist? Like, do they just get like a high off like beating you with something that's like bad? Are they just like, do they just
Have to
live off
assume
that?
so. Yeah, I can't tap into it. I don't really understand.
I also can't tap into it. I'm like, you have to be like some psychotic person.
Especially with like people like Ripto who are swapping between different low tiers. Like I've had single characters that I'm like, oh, I'm in love with this character. I want to play
It's like,
him,
yeah,
like
fair
a shit
enough.
ton.
Like, I just
like-
love Bowser Jr. It's like, yeah, go for it, King.
But this
And
guy's picking 6 different low tiers. It's like, okay, well, there's something here. I don't really understand. I assume it's just harder to win, and that's fun, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah,
That's funny as. Just low tier Ripto. And he was the first one to make it. He was the first one to go on the PR.
yeah, dude. I like the first realization that like we had big tournament. I remember this in Smash 4. We kind of had this once a year tournament that wasn't a major. It wasn't a monthly. It just happened at like a Warhammer convention.
A Warhammer convention.
And yeah, Ripto was like 8th seed, and then he just randomly won this tournament. It was like
Cool.
the season before any of us were PR. That's kind of what got him on.
Ah.
And he just like won this tournament out of nowhere, playing every low tier under the sun. He played Link, Bowser Jr. He like swapped in grands after winning against someone he like shouldn't have been beating at the time, and he was just going crazy with low tiers. And he won like $250 cash, which again at that age is fucking
mate.
insane.
That's too much. That's too much money for one man to have.
Too much power. I was like, dude, I was so jealous at the time. Like when you're that young, you like compare
That's when
yourself
you're
to
like,
other
I have to
people.
beat him. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly, dude.
All right. And then I guess to transition from Tasmania to nationally, what was the first poster on the wall? What was the first major where you're like, whoa, guys, we should go to that? And how did that feel?
I think me, Varos, and Breadstick, 2 other not as well known Australians, Tasmanians, went to BAM 8, which was the one with Umeki, with Mr. Ra, with QB.
Why?
We just kind of
How did you find BAM 8 and why?
Oh, we knew
Were you
about
connected
BAM
in the
7
scene?
from the Tasmanian players going and being pretty good at the time. So,
I
like,
see.
Old,
Oh,
the old
okay.
guard.
Yeah.
And then we had spent that whole year kind of watching content. As you do, you watch the majors, you watch the big YouTubers, and then we saw that I think ESAM and like Ally and some other people were meant to go, and they dropped out last minute.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, Australia. That's where I
Yeah,
live.
I'm like this. Yeah, I'm like this big deal. Like all these huge players. Like at least if I go, it's like I'm watching like a tournament like in real life, and I get to like. I mean, at the time you're kind of delusional. You're like, oh, maybe I can do decently. It's like.
Maybe I can prove myself.
It's the realization. It's like going from your friend group to entering a local, but the next level. You're going from a local to entering this huge major just to get like a piece of the bigger pie, a piece of the vision of what
Yeah, you're
is
like,
really
maybe
going
I could get my upset and get my name out there. And then you're
Yeah.
like, whoa, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah, well, and I think when I attended BMA, I was like just cusping like a top 10 player in Tasmania.
Okay.
So that's kind of when I came into it. I think I got like the one before 65th, whatever placement that is. I was one round off playing Putch at my first major. It would have been so sick.
Damn. Do you reckon you would have taken him?
No.
No? Or was this when Jack was like a freak in what,
I
2016?
I think he was pretty good at the time. And,
With the Fox.
I don't even remember if he was meant to be at losers. And I lost to this Little Mac who ended up being like a doubles only player and just like went crazy. He was like last seed in the pool and got like 65th. I was like, okay.
Oh shit. You know, do you remember their tag?
I don't remember if it was Catalyst or his doubles partner, because I remember I played his other doubles partner in 10. But
So
it
so
was
you
either
you you
Catalyst
had
or
to fight the squad, you one after another.
I went through it. Dude, at BAM, I think BAM 10, Big BAM, the first big convention set at BAM. Me
Yeah.
and Pierce were looking at this Sonic main. I think this was Catalyst, who was in our pool, and I like just started talking to like Instated, so I kind of knew who Pierce was. We like talked a little bit, and we saw this guy who was dead last seed. His like flag on Smash.gg, it was like from Hong Kong or something. So
Oh,
okay, we're like scared of this guy, and then all of a sudden he beats PS round one, beats me, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is fucked.
holy shit. Like this guy's a freak.
Yeah, and then it all came flashing back. He's like, yeah, I'm actually doubles partner with that other guy, and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
cool, man.
way back, way back.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Yeah, like from Hong Kong, um, dude, and then from BAM 8 to BAM 10. Huh, like they're
I kind of
definitely like I reckon that's definitely like a rabbit hole someone somewhere could probably dive into, like we bring them back or something like that. Or maybe they're this person all along.
yeah.
But
But kind of the ideals of like improving were kind of luckily brought to us by TFC and the interstaters that did come. Like we had
TFC.
Booper and Leisha 2 years running. Ignis came to Tasmania quite a bit.
When was this?
So we had TFC yearly from 2016, I think.
Was
I think
this
I missed
after
the
BAM
first
8?
one. My first TFC was after BAM 8, yeah, because I ended up missing the first one.
Right, yeah. So
But
you came back from BAM 8, you saw all the cool fellas, you saw Umeki, Waveguider, like you got a taste of like the larger Australian scene, and then all of a sudden TFC comes, and then you have these people coming.
yeah, I had a bit of time to process it and to realize, like, because at the time I didn't know any of the Australian top players. I didn't know the Waveguider and whoever else was good at the
Or
time.
Extra
And then
Ghost.
yeah, Extra and Ghost were already good. I forget that they're like been playing for a long ass time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know like any of the top players. And then I kind of got a bit of time after BAM to digest and look into the other Oz scenes, start watching like locals and stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a few of the players I'd heard about were coming to Tasmania.
Yeah.
And
You're like, I've seen this Bowser on YouTube, and then he's coming here.
yeah,
This
I think
Boozer guy.
Joe came as well.
Oh,
He was
Joe.
like, he was an infant at the time. He was 14, I think.
Yeah, I'd imagine, right? Like he looked
But
like an
he was
infant
still
now.
an up and comer. Like I took a game off him, and it was like the best thing I ever did. I was like, oh, this is so sick.
Damn. Well, I guess he was like really good, like already at the start. Hey.
Yeah, he got good pretty quickly. I mean, he
Right.
went to like try and win. Like he got like second or third, I think.
Oh shit. Okay.
So he was already pretty good. Yeah, I think
Who
Hooper ended
won?
up winning that,
Oh, Booper.
and then he won Expangong 2 right after. So I was like, oh, cool.
What
We're actually
the-
not too bad.
Dude, he's a freak. What the hell?
Dude, he just wins sometimes, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's always been like that. Like, I remember the
Oh, yeah.
first ever Ultimate PR, he was there, and he was just like beating people with like Ridley and Bowser and stuff. He's just like a, like
No.
heavyweight guy. He likes his heavies.
The TFC reoccurring definitely helps because like that kind of was a checkpoint all the time. Like at the end of Smash 4, Chinrees came after he did well at Expangong, and that was like one of my first bigger wins.
Oh,
And then even in Ultimate, Ignis came right after he won cross up that I beat him, and I was like, okay, well these are just good checkpoints for me that are being given to me for no reason. Okay.
yeah,
like,
I
can
guess
go
I
off
get,
that.
that is nice when your state has its own major, even though it might not be like as big as like BAM. It's like it's still a major, or like
Yeah.
it's still a relevant tournament in the Oz-wide scene enough to get a taste of interstate experience, right?
Yeah, it
And
did
that's kind of
enough
like
for
a
sure.
milestone for you, like it's like put it on the calendar. It's like, oh, this is TFC date, and then like how much have I improved from previous to now? It's
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely tracked by all of us. We're like, okay, there's obviously who can be the highest placing Tasmanian, and then like who could try and get one of those big wins.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. That's really nice. And then I guess it's like kind of like awesome that like, all the way now you're the one that's defending Tasmania and you're taking TFC,
Yeah.
from all these other interstaters. But I guess like the cycle continues, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like this
I'm gonna
recent
go back
one.
every time.
Yeah, right. I mean, you have to.
Newt's gotta keep going back, and then I'm sure, or maybe Sayhnim moves in the future, and he gets even better. Then he starts going back, and then it's
And then
it's inevitable.
someone comes, That's
There's
cool.
always someone new.
Yeah. Um. Okay. And so I guess when were you did you ever reach kind of like a contentious Oz PR level in Smash 4, or was that mainly Ultimate?
I
Like
got
you'd say.
kind of close at the end. It's like the final BAM was the first time I made it out of pools at a major.
Yeah.
So
Oh, well, I
I
mean,
was
okay, so sorry to interrupt. Before that,
that's all.
that was like this is you had a TFC where you beat Chinrys, right? When he started getting really
Yeah,
well.
just before that, I just beaten
Oh,
Chinrias. Yeah,
just before that. Yeah. So now you're like you kind of have an idea of possibly whereabouts you are, right? Chinrys
yeah.
got really good at the end, so
The confidence is building as well because I ended up going on a family holiday to Queensland at the very start of that year as well,
oh
where I went
hey.
to a Queensland monthly. And I think actually my first actual big win was Seymour Butts at that event. And then I played
Oh, I think
against
I remember
Jace, I
that.
played against Flex, I played against Neezus. Actually got a quite a wide variety of like players to fight against there, and I got like fourth at the monthly, losing to
Oh,
Jace twice, or
what the
Jace and
fuck?
Flex. Yeah, so I was
Wait,
like,
that is good. What the
it's pretty
heck?
good.
Yeah, so at this point in time, like what year was this? Like 2017, 18?
uh, yeah, probably. I think very end of 2017 was that tournament, then 2018.
Yeah. So now you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hitting
it's all coming
2018,
in. It's
it's
all coming
all
in for
it's all
sure.
coming up. It's all coming up. I'm pretty decent, you know. And then you have the BAM, and then
Yeah, I
you,
had the
you made it
BAM,
out.
which was definitely a like a dream tournament. I made it out of pools. I ended up getting 17th, losing to
Hey,
what Snugsy got 7th, and I like should have won that set. And I lost to Ghost, who was in losers early, and ended up getting second. So
that
like,
seems to be a recurring thing, you know. Ghost in losers early at a BAM. Um,
yeah, and it's like, but those like the only people I lost to, and I took games off both of them. I beat everyone else with like a variety of characters, so it was still me doing me proud.
yeah, right. I mean, you're losing to basically like other Oz PR contention or Oz PR straight up players, right?
Yeah,
So
as
you're
soon as
just,
I got a game win on Ghost, I'm like, shit, like, it's real.
dude. Yeah, maybe I can do this. I can do
Yeah.
something. And yeah, look, but you didn't end up on the gravestone, right?
No, I didn't get on the gravestone. I remember there
The
was one
gravestone, for
final
those who don't know, is the finale Oz PR. So, which
the
is really
kicker. There was
cool.
like what 15 people on it. I think
Yeah.
Pierce was like 14th or 15th, one of the closing out people.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
There was one event. I'm not sure if you remember MEO, the first MEO. It was right at the end of Smash 4. Ultimate was
Is
already announced.
this the one that Saber won?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
perfect. And then Joe got second, but was expected to win. So Joe on his own grind, on his own rise.
Yeah.
But that tournament was like, I'm gonna try and show one last like performance before I head out because I'm actually getting pretty good at this game. And then before I got a sponsor, actually, the guys from DT, before they sponsored me or anything, just helped me on a one-time get to that event to try and like
Oh,
do something. It was like super like wholesome.
that is wholesome. What the fuck?
And then I ended up getting ninth there, which was very similar to BAM because it's like slightly less people, but
Yeah.
ninth, 17th, kind of the same.
Yeah, it's like you're like the top 16 of a major, but then it's like
Yeah.
a almost the top 8 of a kind of big tournament, you know. It's similar. I know what you mean. Who did you beat? Who did you lose to at MEO?
I think every event I ended up beating Clouds with Donkey Kong. That was kind of my train to
That
make
was your
history.
bit?
Yeah,
You were just
but I
like
ended up
stealing Tweak's flow, you know.
I was yoinking, man.
You
I
were
had
just
to do
like
what I had to do.
perfect grab.
And then I think I lost to Saber in winners,
Right.
and
The one cloud that got away.
the one cloud that got away. I played Luigi and that's it. Oh, there was a lot of characters. I was still playing every character under the sun.
Yeah.
And then I lost to Ellis in Losers Atlas, who was
I
also on his
rem-
own historic come up.
I remember.
Yeah.
This was when I was like familiarizing myself with the scene actually.
Mm.
2018. Joined uni. And then started playing a bit of Smash. Some guy was like, "Yeah, Australia has a scene." I was like, "Real shit?" And then
Yeah.
I'm like, "MEO, what's this?" And then Atlos is doing Charizard things, and I'm like, "Whoa!" Fun
I
fact: that's
remember
like what. That's the only thing I remember is Atlos the Charizard. And
he was the
doing
storyline
well.
for that event for sure.
Yeah,
And
he
also
got
like
like
the
an offset,
nicest
right?
human alive. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't remember the rest of his run. But
He did
I feel
something
like should
because
have got better.
because there has to be a reason why it sticks out to me when I think about
Yeah, he
that.
was known at the time. I think he might have won a Sydney Arcadian beforehand or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those Sydney fellas and their come ups.
yeah. I played Samus and Luigi into him. I didn't even play Mario. I didn't play Donkey Kong.
Why is yeah? Like let's talk a bit. Like go into the psychology of that. Like why did you play those characters? For what reasons? To what characters? Was it like a character thing? Was it kind of like a vibe thing? Like oh, I'm feeling this right now.
There was definitely a lot of like ideas in my head about just character versus character strictly.
Oh,
Like I intended on playing Bayo into him because Sayhnim had like after I'd become number one in Tasmania for like about a year and a half now.
yeah.
Like one of the few losses I had was to Sayhnim's Charizard, and it happened multiple times.
Oh, multiple
So
times. So it's
yeah, so
not just a
I
fluke.
yeah, I ended up picking up Bayo and being a little rat and laser camping him and or like gun camping, just cheesing the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then I kind of knew Joe at the time from the TFCs he'd been to, so I talked to him because he's like from Sydney. Like, okay, can I go Bayo into Atlas? And he had to run off a playset, so I didn't get that. But it turns out I should have because I was like scared because there was Naomi Campbelltown, there was Joe. I'm like, okay, this guy has Bayo experience,
Oh,
so I just like I didn't do it. I was
So
too
so
scared.
maybe Joe was the reason. Joe was the reason why
Yeah.
you didn't beat Ellis.
Yeah, I've talked to him
He
after. He's like, yeah, you should have got Bayo. I told him every time, and I'm like, ah, man.
fuck.
It
You-
probably
you-
would have changed much.
you-
I did
you
get a
got
shine
stooged.
spark. I got a couple of fun things.
Oh yeah, a shine
Yeah.
spark.
Yeah, it's the Samus or Dash Attack
Oh
thing
my
to
god,
level
that's what the
30. Yeah.
that's so fucked up. Like I was like shine spark, like you fox, like what? And then I'm like, oh wait, no, it's the dash attack 0%
No, it's
kill.
the dumbest shit in that game. Dude.
There's so like watching back Smash 4 stuff and you see some stupid shit like Mario up B, just like
Yeah, the
you get
reverse,
the reverse middle hit and it just kills him. I was like, what the fuck? Even
I loved all that stuff. I was such a little cheesy
dude,
boy, man.
I loved it too. It was like, oh, you're telling me I can break the game like this? That's awesome. Like, I remember Mario had up throw down air into the up B as well on Jigglypuff.
Yeah, if you had rage.
If you had rage, you can kill Jigglypuff. Because I actually used to play Mario as well, and
He's fun, man.
yeah, I would look up like Rust VODs. I was like, oh, that's a Smash 4.
I was so
Australian
late
Mario.
to the Rust pipeline. I remember at the final BAM where there was the big BAM crew battle. There was like the all-star crew battle with like 12 of us on each team,
Yeah.
some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I like watched Rust do some Mario combo. He just did back air down tilt, I think. I think that's all it was. But it was the smoothest like transition.
Dude,
like-
nothing slicker than Mario's connecting into down tilt.
Yeah,
Nothing
like,
slicker.
This guy like is so clean. Like, he has the combo videos incarnate right in front of my eyes.
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
like the
seen anything
Zenyu
like it.
moment. You're like down tilt. Oh my god.
Exactly. He's making new shit. I'm like, dude, this is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, not to tangent too much, but did you ever watch that really cool Zenyu YouTube video of him just comboing the fuck out of a Rob, and like he would just have different combo trees? For it was like an 8-minute video on like Jungle J, like the Donkey Kong Country
Yeah.
thing, and he's just comboing Rob, and it's just like 0 to 80%, 0 to thing. This is what you do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just watching this as like a noob, right? And be
I
like,
think I did.
you
I
know,
remember watching like combo video trees of like, oh, you do this at this percent and it does this much, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
dude, right? How infectious was that? And then we just play like basic Fundies characters now. We're not even playing Mario anymore.
Dude, Zenyu was like combo brain rot. He just got through to us.
It was
Dude.
fucked. He was so sick. Like watching all
Oh,
his
I still watch his clips back, dude. It's crazy.
dude. I watched all his VODs, like every one of them. I watched him versus fucking Lima and like destroying Lima with like
Yeah.
in the reset. I watched him versus Zero where he got the spike and like beat him. Or maybe he didn't beat him. Oh, no, he didn't beat him. It was really close. And then Zero was like, "You're really good."
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, fuck, dude, Smash 4. Actually,
Fun times.
yeah,
Bad game. Fun times.
definitely not an amazing game. But we're here now in Ultimate. Let's talk a bit about that. So first year of Ultimate, or I guess end of 2018 to 2019. What was that like?
So that's Ultimate's release. I kind of came in still number one. There had been like, actually, everyone ended up quitting Smash 4 for the last few months.
Yeah,
So that's why I like
tends to
really
be the
wanted to try
case.
with MEO. But like, I mean, everyone does. But I remember our group, our like high school group of Sayhnim, Ripto, Parish, all that, they went off and started playing League, and that's where it all went wrong. They all installed it. They're all like level 500 now.
No.
But it's like as soon as they kept going, I'm like, they might never come back.
Yeah, actually, such a scary feeling, you know.
Yeah, so there was like a year and a half period where I was number one in Smash 4 before Ultimate came out.
Yep.
And then it kind of went into the game where I was probably going to be number one because these guys weren't playing as much as they like could have.
Yeah, and not even that. It's like these are the same usual suspects. You know that you know what they're gonna be. Nothing too deep, like deviant.
Yeah, there
is
weren't
gonna
too
happen,
many
right?
new people. Like there was the return of like the start of like the Smash 4 old guards.
That's
And
always
then
cool to see.
it took a little bit for us to get new Ultimate players. That was kind of when the scene was at its lowest entrance wise.
The start, really.
Oh, like right after the start, the first few we had like a
Yeah.
monthly with like 35 people,
Yeah.
and then like 3 months in, there were definitely weeklies where it was 4-person round robin.
Yeah.
It happened pretty quickly, but yeah, that was the grind. I remember we played I mean, most people did. We got the hacked version of the game before the game came out just to get any taste of it.
Yeah.
There was a pre-local. We ran a tournament in someone's house, like 12 days before the game came out. And we saw like Metadite was broken, Chrome was broken. We're like just trying to abuse all this dumb shit. So it's the dumbest tournament.
Chrome.
But
Holy shit.
as soon as I won that one, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try not to lose a tournament in this game.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the case. I like dropped, I think, 1 or 2 sets in Tasmania like the whole time I was there,
Yeah.
in Ultimate at least.
Like,
And that's-
wait, as in the entirety of Ultimate?
Yeah, pretty much.
1 or 2 sets only. Jesus.
Yeah, I lost
who were they
a
to?
best of 3 to Newt, best 3 to Trucks, and then I lost a Grants reset. So I had 3 sets.
So you ended up losing a tournament as well.
No, I lost the first set of Grants reset.
Oh, okay.
So I never lost a tournament.
Never lost a
after that.
tournament, but you did lose a set
a few.
or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, that was the goal to, and then as soon as that skill gap came up, and then people started leaving the scene because they just had other commitments. We all started growing up and say, okay, I'm gonna need to start traveling to really get this improvement because, like, in my mind, I nearly got Oz PR at the end of Smash 4.
You still want to
So it's
fetch
like,
that?
Yeah, I'm trying to start there in Ultimate. I'm trying to start early.
Yeah.
So like,
Who did you play immediately in Ultimate?
immediately I tried. Oh, the first character that stuck, I think within a week, I was already maining Luigi, and that stuck for at least a year or two.
Yeah.
But, like I tried both the plumbers. I tried everything I played in Smash 4 pretty much.
Why did you stick with Palu? Like, how early did you pick up Palu?
Remnants of Smash 4 cheese, but I picked up Palu because Ripto played DDD, and I.
Oh
didn't
my
know
god, this is Smash
DDD.
4. What the fuck?
No, this is
Oh,
Ultimate.
oh,
He
okay.
just played DDD at the start of Ultimate.
Oh, okay.
So
I
picked
thought you
up-
said
I
remnants
never
of
played
Smash 4.
Palu. I wish I
Okay.
did. She's so sick.
Yeah. So
But,
you needed to counter DDD.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm never gonna lose to this guy because he beat me at the second tournament in that Grand reset. That was one of the sets I lost. I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna lose to this guy. I'm gonna play Palu because Palu just nairs. That was the old nair as well. It's like, okay, you're just looping. DDD
It
a
actually did
million
everything.
times.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
And
you're
it
going back and
kills.
forth across FD to like 100, and then you're killing them. It's so insane.
Yeah. Damn.
And that's where it started.
That's
I mean,
where-
I've always kind of liked simple characters that have like some sort of medium to high skill expression.
Yeah, I definitely know exactly what you're talking about because that was me as well. I wanted like a basic character that wasn't like too complex but had a lot of like freedom.
Yeah, and then like
So
as Ultimate started, I'd started like traveling and communicating with like Oz people wide and like watching other scenes. So I kind of felt like I was making a name for myself, and I wanted to
prove to
be
to
unique.
make a name. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with like the whole combo stuff. I wanted to be able to be cool with this like simple character because I know no one else would.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm trying to be sick with
Yeah.
Palu and Luigi, whoever else.
Yeah, I mean just stick with it, right? So did you have like so you wanted to be OzPR, right?
Yeah, off the bat,
Ultimate off the bat because you felt like you had a touch of it. What did you do to try to achieve that goal? Because you ended up getting I think you got there, right? Like
yeah, definitely.
Wait, as in, wait, did you end up being, no, you weren't HMs, you were on it, right?
I was on it. Yeah, I
You
think
were
I
on
was
it, okay,
this
yeah.
last or second last spot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I could bring it up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
what did you do to get there? Did you all of a sudden wake up one day and you're like, all right, hitting the regiment, hitting the routine, this is the practice I'm gonna do? Like, or did you have like a goal outline?
It did
Um,
start kicking in with actual practice. Because like at the end of Smash 4, I was still young. I wasn't doing like daily practice mode. I wasn't doing much VOD review or anything like that. I
yeah,
was just doing the head against the wall, play the game.
yeah,
But when Ultimate started, definitely a lot more training mode, a lot more labbing. I mean, people are still finding new stuff because it's new with the game. It's like the start of the game, so you're trying to find your own combo. You're trying to find your own cool stuff. But
yeah.
started VOD reviewing.
Oh, you started VOD reviewing as well.
Yeah,
How?
started VOD reviewing at the start of Ultimate.
So I guess something that might be interesting is what would you VOD review if you were winning everything? Did you VOD review better players who played your characters?
Yeah, it was usually just like I would watch other sets of like Nairo at the time.
Yeah. So you
And
did
there
a
was
lot
a
of
lot
VOD
of
analysis of better players.
yeah, I guess analysis is the better works. Yeah, you're looking at other people. And
Yeah.
then I had to travel a lot. There's a few Rambats. I think the third Rambat, the February one, in 2019, right after the game came out. I did an overnight trip just to go to that Rambat.
Wait, in Vic, right?
Yeah, so I
I
flew over.
actually fucking think I might remember that. You stayed with someone? Was it?
Yeah, I was gonna stay the night with.
Did you go with
Hasako.
Ghost?
Ghost was there, I think, because this happened a lot. I ended up doing this quite a lot throughout the game. But the first one, actually, I just didn't stay anywhere because I didn't sleep. I flew back out at 5 a.m. the next day.
What the fuck?
I needed a taste of it. I'm like, okay, I need a.
I
I
actually
mean, at the
love
start,
that.
it's
You
like
know,
trying to improve, trying to get the matchup practice as well.
that's actually so good. I love that. Yeah, like whatever it takes.
Pretty much.
I remember I had a chat with you. You were like, "Oh, you're Luma," and then you were talking about how Pog Luigi down tilt is, and I was like, "Okay,
Dude, it's so good.
this person likes Luigi."
It's still so good.
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
playing
it's too
mostly
good.
Luigi at the start.
Yeah, you're like up tilt, up B, and I was like, "Okay, cool."
It's true. It's a combo. It's crazy. Yeah, it was a lot of Luigi at the start, and then definitely just wanting more matchup practice.
Right,
Luigi was still giga broken
Yeah,
early on.
you did the labbing, the practicing, and you started doing VOD analysis. What was some like moments that you can kind of share with us in like some small cute revelations just to paint a picture of like what VOD analysis would look like for someone in that position? Did you ever just look at it and be like, that's a cool combo or that's a cool string, I can implement that?
Combo is still definitely a lot of it, but I remember starting to watch like more educational content on Smash of like mentality and things like that. And then I ended up figuring out that like
Any
because I'm in
shout-outs?
this worst scene, I mean my Smash corner is always the goat.
Yeah.
I watched like a lot of it was melee for mentality because melee is just a great spectator sport, but like a lot of Scar content, a lot of the reads, the other show with
Why can't I reach the level of Gatsu, you know?
exactly
Oh,
he did
so
scream, but it's like it's
so good. I have that saved somewhere actually. Like it's just melee, it's all up here. And it's like that's actually just so true.
it's so true.
Yeah.
And then I remember finding out about the concept of like your A game and your B game and your C game and like
Who told you that?
I think that was from Scar. I mean,
Really?
I think he repeated it from someone else.
Yeah.
He repeated it from like SFAT or something. But
Off the
it
grapevine.
it was like a Scar video that I watched. And I'm like, okay, well, because I'm from this war scene, and like sometimes I can't notice when I'm playing at different levels just because I'm winning most tournaments.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go to any event I can in Vic, and I'm gonna like, no matter how well I'm playing on the day, I have to show up and be ready to play at that level and like be the best I can at that level.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, even if the inputs aren't working, sometimes you can slow it down. Sometimes you can like
That's
focus on
when
some other things in the game.
That's one of the first instances where you were like, hey, it's not just ride or die on this singular train. I can always slow it down. I can hop onto a different train. I can
Yeah, that's when it
develop a
swapped from
second
like
plan.
Smash 4. I'm just thinking about like kill confirms. Every time I see someone at a certain number, their percent's at the right color. I'm like,
Bro.
okay, it starts,
Right?
the bull lights are going.
Yeah, like that's all you look for. Or
Yeah,
you're like,
definitely.
oh, 30%. I have to get down throw. Like,
exactly.
I have to get this, that. And then as you get better, you're like, I don't need to get this. I can look at what they do and see what they give me.
Yeah, I found
Yeah.
out the other benefit of playing the simpler characters. It's like, okay, if I'm playing Palu
Yeah.
and I back at this guy's shield, I'm like, I've kind of won the situation. Like I've done a lot of shield damage. I've like kind of I'm able to start the next action.
Yeah, force
And
them
it's
to
like,
do
okay,
something.
like yeah,
What are you gonna do? You know?
I can just
You do a
play a
dash
bit
back and you're
safer.
like, what the fuck? This is
Yeah,
broken.
yeah. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, dashing back's good. So like, okay, I guess I need stage control because if I hit them in the corner, I get way more room to work with than they do.
True,
So
true,
it's
true.
like that's when all the like revelations kind of came in. It's
Yeah.
just
That's when you're seeing the zeros and ones. You're like, oh,
yeah,
so this is what they do. This is why every fucking top player does this. You know? Yeah.
yeah,
You start realizing, okay, that's cool as. Yeah, I think there's something really cool about and I'll kind of like transition this a bit to talking about being in Tasmania, right? But like I think there's
yeah,
something cool about how all the scenes or like smaller scenes, right? Like I mentioned Ghost before, but being in SA, um, people who are really hungry, they tend to. It's not necessarily like they go to Vic specifically, but they go out of their comfort zone. They go
yeah. They go out.
outside their scope to want to improve, right? I
Yeah,
think
that's how
this
I got to know Ghost. Like we were always at the same rep bets. We played doubles a lot just because we were the two
just
hunting
because
for
you were
other
the
states.
two
Yeah,
interstaters, right? Yeah. It was always like, at least in Vic, I didn't. No one really said it, but I always felt it was like a special thing where I was like, there's two new, like not new faces, but like people that are kind of not here usually that are really
yeah.
good. Then I was like, oh, this is gonna be a special round. We got to see a matchup we wouldn't have seen before. We got to see Luma versus our ex mid level player here. This will be sick.
It was fun. It was a good time, man.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely was. It was really cool, especially for me coming up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I guess to go on a bit about being someone in Tasmania, I guess what was like do you want to talk a bit about like the struggles? Like, did you ever feel like you have like did you ever come across any like huge mental boundaries in terms of like what you wanted to get but you felt held back? Did you ever feel that kind of struggle?
Not really. I've always been super like optimistic about pretty much everything. Like
Okay.
as a youngin, I definitely had some moments of like comparing myself to someone else. Like I see, or Seb Pro at the time would get like a seventh at a tournament, and I'm like, okay, well he's also a kid, but he just lives over there. That's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But that kind of went away pretty quickly. It's like I can always be doing more where I am, especially because I'm like, there's a reason why I've like floated to the top in Tasmania, and like everyone else kind of either quit or didn't. So it's like okay, I'm putting in more effort, and I could put in even more because I know I'm not doing as much as I could. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so
So
you seem to have a pretty good mindset from the get-go then, right? Yeah.
yeah, the mental was
Maybe the
pretty
melee
pretty
did
good off
help.
the bat. It's true.
Or maybe that
One
wasn't
of the
off
mental
maybe
videos.
the videos weren't off the bat, like you said. Um but
Yeah, I
like
was
yeah,
playing melee pretty early on. Like I started playing melee at pretty much the same time as Smash 4, like
right.
2015,
But you wouldn't have
2016.
gotten a taste of like what the scarisms were until like later on.
Yeah, until
Right.
near the end of Smash 4. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, like aside from the obvious traveling, um like traveling out of state and stuff, like did you ever like what else did you do to kind of overcome some of the hurdles in Tasmania, or is it actually just as simple as just keep trucking, keep doing what I'm doing and like not stopping?
Being determined helps a lot, but I definitely, as most people in small scenes do, once you become pretty good, you just become the TO. Like me and Sayhnim eventually just became TOs because people were leaving and we needed to see more tournaments so we could improve.
Yeah, I mean
So it's
it's not even as simple as like I want what's best. It's also like this will help me.
yeah, it's like it's helping everyone helps me. Like there's no harm in having a good scene.
Yeah,
So it's like I'm playing everyone in Tasmania as much as I can.
yeah,
Like being willing to play anyone in your scene. I know there are people that like probably don't want to play the lower level players in their scene,
yeah.
but just like being homies with everyone, playing,
Anthony
bringing up
actually
every level of the scene.
Anthony mentioned that a lot. He was like really grateful to you for that reason as well. I was like, oh, that's really nice that you did that. But yeah,
And
like
I think that helped a lot.
yeah,
Just be like, even though there's like 20 of us across the whole like scene at that time, it's like not that many people, but like I could just be practicing against the same one or two. But instead, I'm like going to Launceston every other week, and I'm trying to get every single taste, everyone like everyone that's there, and
yeah,
get them to all improve, get their mental, get their point of view and everything.
yeah. And do you think that there's a merit, like there's a point to be made about like that kind of resourcefulness? I think something that I'm kind of like getting a vibe off of is when you're put in a situation of limitation, like you're in a limited situation, right? Living in Tasmania when you want to be the best in the country. Um, you end up being a lot more resourceful. You end up being like a lot more.
Yeah,
You use like you juice out every possible bit you can get of anything, and there's no sense of like privilege, right? So you're like you said, you go to Launceston. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. You go to
that's all
whoever you verse, like everyone, even if
good.
you
Yeah,
know you might be beating them, for the next conceivable amount of times. It doesn't matter because you wanna, you can wanna get used to this character. I think there's a merit to that, right? That people.
yeah, I think so too. Definitely like helped with the mental. Like I was a lot more confident, a lot more happy to just be working with what I had, and then that comes into everything else. Like I'm being more resourceful with like the opportunities I have. So like even in game, if I'm down a few stocks, it's like okay, well I'm kind of down a lot. I have less options than everyone else to improve. I'm just gonna win anyway, even though I have less stocks or whatever.
Yeah, like never feeling that sense of complacency.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Uh, sorry, it's really funny. On Discord, it says you're playing League of Legends right now.
Dude, I was like, I had this thought on the way home where I was like, I really want to play TFT, which is just auto chess. So I was like, maybe I booted up during the interview, but I haven't. My hands are here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, it's kind of like more insane if you're able to play TFT while doing an interview. I think that although I don't know how auto chess works, maybe auto chess really is as simple as
It's
auto
pretty
playing
automatic.
chess. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Um, okay, so okay, you've hit a few strides. You're going to so Rambat happened, and then Bam happened, and I remember Bam as well. You got top 9. You lost to
Oh, I
Ignis.
got
No, you got top
one.
8.
I think I got 13th.
You got
I think I
13th. My
got.
bad.
I
My
think
bad.
so.
You ended
That's
up
all
losing
good.
to Ignis, right?
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
funny because like, oh, just before that, we'll quickly go into the TFC of
Oh,
Ultimate,
sure, of course.
which is where I got to play Ignis before that. Who
Mm.
actually we kind of talked about it earlier, but yeah, CWC had like it just happens
Yeah.
right after the game's release.
He got
Ignis
second.
wins that, or gets second or whatever. Ignis does really well,
Yeah.
and then he comes to Tasmania. It's like, okay, this guy's a threat in this game. I know who he is because he's been here during Smash 4.
Yeah.
And then that was my main goal at the start of Ultimate. So, okay, I haven't lost to anyone yet. I'm just gonna try and keep winning.
Yeah.
And he comes down and I beat him, and I'm like, okay, well, like there's a real shot at doing everything.
You're like, oh shit, here we go.
And then Bam kicks in. Well, I beat Ghost, which was a big deal.
Oh, what the fuck you did?
Yeah, round 1 winners of the
Damn.
top
What was okay?
64.
What was that matchup?
Palu Peach at the time.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
which is funnily enough a matchup I'm bad at now.
Wow. How funny
Yeah.
is that? It's so funny how like at the start of the game, there's some matchups that have prevailed even now.
Yeah, for sure.
Pinnacle titans of the game, some might say. And that's a huge win, right? That must be huge for your
Oh,
morale.
that was so happy. Yeah, because obviously, like, all these players, I knew who they were. Ghost, good in Smash 4. Ignis, good in Smash 4. I both traveled with them. So it's like, okay, this is a big one. And I'm just trying to keep it going. I ended up losing to Cherry in winners at BAM.
Oh
Who
shit.
I was like pretty happy because he was super nice. I'd already kind of gotten to know the ACT people through peers.
Yeah.
So like
Do you
I'm sad, but I'm happy for this guy.
mind if I tangent just a bit off that?
Yeah, go on.
What's the connection between you and ACT? Not that there needs to have to be like some artificial connection, but I was just like kind of thinking about like, oh yeah, you are very close to Pierce, and because
It
Pierce
kinda just
they
came
were also
through
down
with-
tilted, right?
Yeah, they were down to it before I had spoken a word to them.
Oh,
So
I
it's
see.
like, okay, well, this team that's picking me up is also. Oh, I hadn't been picked up at the time, but we were in talks.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're also sponsored this guy from ACT, so I kind of talked to him a little bit through that. I ended up playing Pierce. Oh, Pierce was in my pool for BAM
Oh,
9
okay.
and 10.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just always someone that was around, and I'm like, okay, well,
You
I'm gonna talk to him
familiarize
a
yourself
bit.
with them,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we ended up being doubles teams that I don't even remember if we teamed
Phantom.
at the first BAM. I don't think we did. I think Phantom was the first one.
Yeah. No, not Phantom. OHN.
I don't think OHN was the first. We did really good at OHN.
Oh,
Um, there was
one of them. I
Phantom
definitely
might have been the
remember before
first.
I knew Pierce.
Yeah,
You
'cause we
two
teamed. There
doubled.
was Expangong that year as well. There's a lot of majors that year.
I was also at
Expangong,
Expangong.
we had already teamed, and we got like it was like the second highest placing Oz team, so that was like really good.
Oh my god! What the fuck? True.
We
Oh,
went kind of crazy a lot.
I remember that.
I still
Yeah.
reminisce on the me and Pierce doubles.
Yeah, you do a bit crazy. Hey. And I guess they familiarized you with wider ACT as well, right?
Yeah, what
Yeah,
RCT?
I always loved the ACT people. There's always like a kind of wholesome energy there. I think
Oh yeah, for sure.
it's
They're always
really
just
really endearing.
super nice people, just willing to talk to anyone.
And
But yeah,
Cherry is
like
like another. He is like one of your comrades. Like
stayed with him as well. I guess this was before BAM. I stayed with him at Expangong. We just randomly got put in a B&B together.
and
So that's
he's
how I got
he's
on.
so great. Yeah,
He's such a
he
nice
stays
guy.
over at ours, and we just talk about how like everything's just Dark Souls. We're like fighting through it all and stuff like that. No, it's great. That's cool. But so
Like
it's nice to lose to a hero at least, right? In
yeah,
them.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That whole year was like so hard to track because like there was Phantom and Expangong before BAM.
It's almost
There's
like
like
this year.
OHN. There's SSU. There was so many tournaments in that like 2019 period
It's
that I
actually
was.
fucked because in Ultimate's lifespan, it feels like the game's been out for so long, but it feels like there's only been 2 full years,
Yeah,
2019 and this year actually,
yeah,
which we
it's
will get
crazy.
to. But yeah, it's weird, right? It's like the circuit. You had so much. You had Sunnyside Up. You have
Yeah, I went
even more
to
to come.
everything I could, man.
Yeah, you did go to
The big
everything.
results kind of came in the latter half. Sunny Side Up, OHN, CWC.
Yeah.
Those are kind of what I honed in on, like actual good like top 8 performances.
Any difference in like not like in what you did to get excelling in results there, but between the first half and the second half of the year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it was just a lot of kind of figuring out where I was and actually not just riding the ego high of being like, okay, I might just be one of the best off the bat. It's like, okay, I got the taste of like I'm not the best straight away. I need to actually put in the work. Started putting in a lot of matchup specific practice. Because I remember like I kept losing to like Seb and Incy and like a lot of similar faces. So I was like, okay, I'm practicing for these people in particular now because I'm at that point of the tournament where I'm likely to run into
Yeah,
familiar faces.
yeah. Did you end up beating them?
I I beat Seb for the first time very recently, but I did beat Incy at Sunnyside Up. Oh no, actually at the pre-local. But we played at the pre-local for Sunnyside Up where I won 2-1, and then we played for top 8 at Sunnyside Up where I lost 3-2, and then he ended up having the crazy set with
Damn,
Seb.
3-2 as well. That
I,
sucks.
I
Cause
think
it's close.
I got caught out because I hadn't top 8'd yet, and ninth was my best placement pretty considerably. So once I got there, I was like super happy. I was like already too over the moon to
Yeah.
really keep it going, I think.
So okay, that's nice that you overcame one thing at least.
Yeah,
You got it.
slowly got that.
Your big top 8 at a major. Hey.
Yeah, I got 7th at OHN and I got 5th at CWC. The CWC like
Shit.
was way late on because it was December that year that every major had passed it. The game had been alive for a little bit by that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Damn.
that tournament was like pretty important for me because like, that was as the Oz PR season was coming to a close.
Wait, CWC?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other second one of the game, the 2019 one. 'Cause,
Yeah, yeah.
the second last tournament for the Oz PR season, I attended Big Cheese 2.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting 25th because I lost to J Dizzle in losers after he lost to Rust.
Oh my god, that was
Yeah.
2019. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's so long ago.
I watched that in my capsule hotel in Japan.
Oh shit.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah,
So so
that
you
was a
got the
crazy
unlucky
tournament.
bracket, hey.
Yeah, I called straight through it.
Damn.
I mean, I kind of I lost to Stabby J round one winners because I was playing banjo, so I definitely could have not been there. But
Played banjo.
yeah, I
What?
was still in my character shit. I was like
Ah!
sad. I was sad about losing to Jadis as well because I wanted to play hero and I couldn't. It wouldn't have made a difference, but it was already a mental tick like straight off the
Because they
bat.
banned it. That's
Yeah, they had a
so
band at the time.
that's so fucking funny. Oh my
Uh,
god.
And then CWC, I come back in and I'm like, okay, this is one last tournament before OSPR ends. I kind of need to do well to like get that spot to make sure I'm in there.
Hmm.
And then I ended up using kind of every character under the sun again. I beat Didi with Luigi,
Oh
like I
my
ate Stockton. That's my best win ever.
Jesus. What
And
the
then
heck?
I played Hero to beat Cherry. I finally beat Cherry after he beat me. That was four
Nice.
top eight.
Nice.
And then played Nick. I lost to Ghost and Nick in both game 3 and game 5 sets. So I was
Damn.
like, okay, this is a no bad losses, loads of good wins. I think I beat Ben Gold as well. It's like, okay, this is a good way to end it off.
Yeah. And then you got us PR.
Yeah, and I was over the moon when that happened.
Yeah,
I
and
think I was living in Perth at the time, or I think I had just moved when
you
LCR
just
came
moved.
out.
Right.
Yeah.
But like that's that must be insane, right? Like especially for all the people at home at Tasmania. It was like this is the guy that made it. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you can do it, you know? Be living in Tas.
Like that whole year was a flash because obviously it was a little bit ago now, but just everything was going so quickly, and it's like okay, I'm trying to topple every tournament.
Yeah.
Like a lot of emotions throughout all of it. I'm trying to reach this goal that seemed like nigh impossible,
Yeah.
and then you kind of make it.
You made it possible.
And then what? Just before OSPR or just after OSPR, there was the tournament in WA with Leon. Where I took a game of Leon, and I'm like, oh, that's a big deal.
Oh my
He's
god, yeah.
American.
You did.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, so damn, that's really cool. 2019, you went through the whole like
Yeah.
the Warriors pilgrimage of sorts basically, right?
Yeah.
You like
I have this tweet here from like, cause I remember I bookmarked it. It was at the start of 2019. I had like the 2019 goals for Smash,
oh yeah.
and like a
Did you
lot of them
succeed?
seemed very unobtainable at the time. Like do well at TFC, which I ended up winning.
Yeah.
Top 8 in Oz Major, which I did twice. Just attend more. And then the last goal was like make Oz PR. It's in brackets unlikely.
Oh
So making that
my
happen was
god. And
pretty
you
huge.
made all what the heck? You
Yeah.
did when did you post that? Like what was the date?
That was December 31st, 2018.
Wow. That
So kind
damn.
of made it all happen.
You
Yeah.
know, like that's fucked whenever anyone does that because I get secondhand like fright because I'm like, this is gonna look so bad if you don't make it happen, right? And I know
Yeah.
that you shouldn't. It's never actually good to think like that, especially for anyone else, right? Because it's like, if it's like their journey, right? But like I knew that like one reason I never did anything like that was because I'd feel terrible if I didn't end up doing that, right? And now I'm old enough to realize that that's actually not a good kind of mental to have,
Yeah.
right? Like, it doesn't actually matter whether you like get that or not, but like if you say it and you set out the goal, then it forces you to do something, and like the
Yeah.
fact that it makes you do something is what's important. But you actually ended up doing it,
I
which
was
is
like
fucking
peak
insane.
optimism when I first posted that. I kind of made it all the way through.
That's a sign of hey, that's a sign of commitment. That's a sign of that hunger, that hunger. So yeah, and then hey, you moved to WA, and
Yeah.
before we go into that segment, and then I guess the post COVID era as well, because COVID happened, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's this whole shebang. But did you think you could have done anything better in a small scene like Taz, or do you think that even relates to something now in WA?
I think the one constant between both, at least in Ultimate, is that I could be doing better, like helping organize events and really bring in new faces. Because like that's something I did in Smash 4, which kind of helped me get to where I am. So I wish I was like continuing on that and doing more tournament organizing. Obviously, it's like hard when life hits you. It's like okay, I'm working now, I have to pay rent, I have to do all this shit.
Yeah.
But it's still something I think I can find time for, and it's something I want to do a lot more of
How'd you go
now
about
at
that?
least. Like Smash 4, I would do everything I could because I didn't have a job at the very start of Smash 4 and like
Right.
throughout most of it. So it's like, okay, I'm just spending every moment I can like bringing in new faces, telling people at like college, trying to figure out promotion, how to like promote it at other unis and stuff.
Oh wow, wait, so
Yeah,
you like what you weren't were you like a flyer boy? Yeah, you'd like post up flyers on unis and be like, come
we
to
did
this
it a few times. Yeah, it was a lot of posting online. Like Facebook
online.
pages were still big. It's like what brought in. I think that's how we found the scene.
Right.
And then yeah, a lot of promotion and obviously just boots on ground. Like every time I was there, if someone wanted to play the game, if they're like, I have this time free, I can be at the venue. It's like, okay, I'm there at least to like be their first welcoming face and get some games.
And you say that it's what got you to where it is now. What do you mean? Do you mean it in terms of um like that actually in turn directly correlates to your improvement as a player or do something else?
Mostly just directly with improvement.
Really?
Obviously, I stayed more connected with the scene because I was like helping build it.
Yeah.
But just the fact that I like I kind of wasn't putting it on myself. I wasn't putting too much pressure on myself. It's like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm like playing games and I'm making the scene bigger for other people. And like, I feel more driven to do it for those other people. And I don't feel as pressured to like, oh, if I do it, like, I'm
Oh,
not going to fuck up. So it's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to play games with these people because I want them to have the experience I've had. And then all of a sudden, I'm just getting more practice. And then that's kind of how it
oh,
toppled around the snowball effect.
so
Yeah.
it's literally as simple as like you get more people, you get more games, and you get more games,
Pretty
you get more
much.
practice. Wow.
Yeah.
That, damn, I don't I've never thought of it like that. That's not to say it's wrong, but
Mm.
it's definitely a very like simplistic like first like like devoid of anything like you like nonsensical kind of approach to it, right? It's just like
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just
it's
get more
definitely the
games, I
monkey
get more
approach.
practice.
It's trying to get rid of the like all the negative thoughts of being in a scene with lesser options. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it as simple as I can to not overthink it.
And I think that
And just
says a lot
yeah,
about like the idea behind like stigmas, right?
yeah, sure.
It's actually like you can learn a lot from people that might not be like as good as like others, you know, which I think yeah, that's really cool that you brought up. Like I don't think many people really talk about that.
I think it's still a big deal now because like
Oh,
even now I'm still like I feel like I fit in pretty well here just because I'm talking to everyone in the scene. There's like 50 people at locals here. So
50.
the fact that yeah, we get
Oh,
50
WA,
person
yeah,
locals quite a lot
yeah,
in WA.
yeah.
So it's like the fact that these new players are coming in and the guy at the top is like talking to them straight away and playing games and like we're hanging out outside of events and stuff. It's like that keeps them coming back. It gives them a reason to practice because they see that that's how I did it, so they just do the same thing.
That's cool. Damn, that's cool. And yeah, so let's. Can you talk a bit about WA? What was um obvious differences? Let's get those aside. Let's start there.
Yeah, sure. So definitely, I mean, I kind of came in with a reset because when I first got here, even with one of the like dumb blind confidence, I realized I wasn't the best off the bat. There was old mate Pop at one still doing big,
Yeah, pop it, Jordan. Very good.
and every time I'd visit, we'd have good sets, and the goal every time I would visit would just be get as many sets with him as possible.
Right.
Like the rest of the tournament was like, I'm just trying to make it to losers finals, winners finals, grand finals, and that's like the goal of everything. And if there was a tournament where I couldn't do that, even though the goal was quite narrow-minded, it definitely was kind of devastating if I would have a trip where I didn't get to play many sets with Jordan.
Yeah.
Because he was still at every local. That was 2 locals a week.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of opportunity to play it. And I mean, I was still getting to similar spots in bracket with like similar amounts of effort. So it's like there wasn't too much of a difference jumping between locals. I think a big difference that could have been there was the fact that all of a sudden there's 50 people at locals and I'm playing like 5 to 10 rounds instead of 1 to 4.
Yeah. Did
But
that change a bit of your stamina?
I think luckily enough, because back in Smash 4, we would run Smash 4 and Melee on the same day.
Oh
So
fuck.
once Smash 4 was over,
So you're just
I'd
used to
boot into
that.
Melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was definitely like a year or two where I was getting grand finals in both.
Mm.
So that kind of trained the stamina.
Yeah,
I think if I didn't have that, that would have been a huge culture shock for sure.
yeah. And like you ended up still I mean like where you are now, right? You're like the one of the heads of the scene. You like help nurture and stuff. But were you like that initially off the start, or did you get a bit of like not imposter syndrome, that's the wrong word, but like oh, I'm like the new guy now in the scene. Did you get a bit of like that?
Yeah, a little bit for sure. I definitely didn't come in like as driven to just talk to everyone and
It's hard
like
to, right?
kind of
Like
build everything
this
up. Yeah,
isn't
because
you're in a new soil,
and then
let
you're kind
alone
of thinking
scene.
about your own path as well. It's like I'm just like I've got so much new things to think about. It's like okay, well, all of a sudden I can't really do the same things I did in Tasmania. I can't
Yeah,
talk to everyone
you're not some
because
15-year-old kid that
yeah,
just like wants the
exactly.
game, you know.
I'm working now, COVID's happening, and then all of
Hmm.
a sudden, instead of having to try and talk to 5 or 10 people to keep the scene alive, there's 50 people. It's like, okay, well, I
That's a
can't.
lot.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
not the guy running anything anymore. I don't have that pressure,
Yeah.
and like, trying to keep up is purely on me. That's kind of a big change with living in Perth. Is that any pressure to improve? It's kind of always been like obviously in Tasmania, I was the guy leading it, so it's like okay, the pressure is on me to improve, but for some reason it feels like that's more so the case now. I feel like I have more pressure on myself to keep up. I think that might just be because I have more competition.
Hmm.
So especially now with Fryd and whenever Poppet was around and Spud was around, it's like okay, I feel a lot of pressure to because I feel like I'm falling behind, and I think that's a fear that I never used to have. I think that might be the case.
Right. I think I guess maybe there's a the difference could be like when you were in Tasmania, the pressure was to catch up to it was to reach for the stars,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
But then now it's like, oh, like it's not so much reaching for the stars, it's so much like catching up to people like around you, you know, that are beating you and you're like, oh shit, like it's not so much like, oh, this is a pipe dream now. It's like a oh, like I can beat these people and I should be
Yeah,
trying to beat them, you know?
I think as
On
well.
that level.
Like going from Tasmania. Oh, I had a thought a minute ago.
Yeah, take your time.
It'll come back eventually, but definitely something to do with just the pressure of just
What
now catching up.
was it kind of like you not used like you feel like you there was a stigma for you or like you felt like you had to uphold a certain image that people had
Oh,
of you?
there we go. It's come back to me. So I was so used to in Smash 4, my like the valuation of my skill from other people kind of only happens when I chose to travel.
Yeah.
When I went to a big event, I had all the prep I wanted, and it was just on that day I had to show up, and that's what people would judge me off of.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I'm here, and every local, there's at least some amount of competition. And it's like, okay, now I have to be scared of being like judged on my skill at every single event. And
Yeah.
like, even though
There's
that's
a
not like
they
a,
know like there's an expectation.
yeah, there's expectations a huge one because like that's obviously not the, you don't want to be thinking about every like all the time. It's always, you don't have to meet any expectations. You just do what you want to do. But it was just a new thing to have to deal with the fact that the eyes were on me. I was kind of like I had gotten I was pure, and I was like expected to do well moving into the scene. So okay, well now I have to keep up, and if I don't, it's the like assumption is that I've like fallen off or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was pretty.
How did
And
that
that's something I'm still kind of going through, but I think I've kind of made it to the other end mentally at least. Where it's
How
like
did it feel initially? Was it like unpleasant or was it like motivating? Or both?
initially it was a bit of both. As I started to finally like be consistent one or two in Perth, it was very motivating. Like anytime I'd lose an event, that was like the most driven I'd be for the next like 3 weeks. I'm just like practicing every day of my life, watching like those VODs back, watching any Lucina Palu, any Palu Greninja VODs I can.
Yeah.
and that definitely kept me very driven. Like when Spud came around for that short period of time, I think that's the most driven and maybe the best I've been at this game because I was just so
Because you had to beat him.
yeah,
You're
I
like,
wanted to beat him with all my heart, but he was also so open to practicing with me, so we were practicing together a lot.
oh
But I
wow.
still knew that he was the goal to beat to like keep up, because there was a lot of eyes on him as well, and I was like, okay, well now people know
He is
Spud's pretty
like the
good.
guy. Like he's the
Yeah,
melee guy. Can you talk a bit about Spud? Like I
yeah,
know,
sure.
yeah, like I know it's about you, but I feel like Spud is a huge enigma in the
Yeah,
scene.
definitely.
Definitely not a lot on him, especially in Ultimate specifically.
Yeah,
I doubt like for how big he is now, like in the melee scene, like people don't realize that this guy was like really good at Ultimate as well. So can you talk a bit about that?
yeah. I mean, I'd known him like most other people. I watched him. He had a big tournament at BAM7. He had a few majors he traveled to before COVID, before he kind of took his melee break. And then I kind of started to talk to him when he would attend here and there at the start of 2020, I think around there.
Why did he attend Ultimate? So wait, so he started at the start of Ultimate? So no, not the
He
start of
actually
Ultimate.
did.
Sorry, you
Okay,
said 2020.
I do forget, but he did actually play in the monthlies at the start. He played Crumb and Roy
Yeah,
like long before I got here when Bigman Champs was around. I remember him doing pretty well.
yeah.
But he would play at like the majors and then would just DQ whenever he had to play melee. That was pretty much it. Like I remember
Right.
he had a pretty good run at Phantom and he was in like a winners top 64 and then just DQ'd to play melee.
Yeah.
Because he was just like that. But I
Yeah.
think when COVID hit, when he kind of we'd like talked about it, he felt like he'd reached every realizable goal in melee for him.
Ah, I
So he
see.
just started. He found that drive elsewhere in ult, and then we would play a bit. It was super fun meeting him at that period of time as well, because I think he kind of humbled out. I know some people kind of found him a bit abrasive back in like 2015, 16, whatever.
Right.
But when I started talking to Spud in like 2020, I'm like, this is the nicest guy. He kind of knows everything. He's been through it all, but he's like humble about it. I
I
think
guess
just
there's
because
a
he
bit
had a
of
whole bunch of years to
camaraderie, right?
process it.
Because you're like, you know where he came, like where he was a Kiwi, right? New Zealand.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in a sense that's a bit kind of
It's
similar,
kind of similar, yeah.
right?
And then I'd watched him like I started watching a lot of melee, so I'd watched him do pretty good at big events, and I'm like, okay, this guy's like a big deal to me at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like at that point, I'm like 18, 19. Top melee players are basically celebrities to me. It's like okay,
Yeah.
like this guy's almost that, and he got just so good so quickly. He was so much willing to put in. He was so much more willing to put in the time than most other people.
Can you talk a bit about that? Like, what do you know anything tangible, specific that he
Yeah, sure.
like? Obviously, I like. What was his goals like? How did he go about it?
His goal was to. It was like dead in the middle of COVID. We thought it was ending a little sooner than it would have, and his like goal to me was just to do damage over here and like get like top four at a major or something. Like he
Damn.
instantly shot for like a pretty high goal, and he would to
So,
get there. Me, him, and Popper kind of shared a like the similar goal of playing with the lower level players. Like we all ended up playing with Kosk, who's just the peach guy who ended up living with for a year. He's like a 2-2er here,
yeah.
and then but he was just one of the guys that was determined to play whenever. So the top players looking for practice, Kosk would say yes, we would go there,
Damn.
and then that kind of showed that Poppet was or Spud was just always asking for practice. He's always looking for games. Anyone that would, he was like head against the wall, like little or me, but he had the brain to do it. He would like know exactly what to improve on straight away.
That's
Get
fucked.
all the training mode practice. Like you know you have to do melee tech skill practice. Like this guy was doing that in Ultimate. You show up in his house, he'd like sit on his bed and play friendlies with him, and he's left elbowing you for like 200%, just kind of laughing at you while he does it. It's like he's just insane.
Left fobbling.
Yeah, the you know the Joker up air
He played
infinite
Joker.
platforms. Yeah, Joker and Zero Suit. He played the both.
I thought you only played Zero Suit.
As he got like properly into Ultimate for that short amount of time, Joker was honestly kind of more of a mainstay. It was a Zero Suit for the characters that he thought were a bit dog, you know, like he didn't want to play against Ness, so he just used Zero Suit side a bit. But like he loved Joker. He still loves Joker. Like I played him just before I got back into Melee. He was just on the idea of getting back into Smash, so we actually almost snuck him. We'd play friendlies, and it's like, okay, well, like if I play enough with this guy, he's gonna come back to us instead of you guys. So it's like- but
Yeah, damn.
he was still crazy.
How
He
was
just
he so good with Zero Suit? Like, I know Zero Suit like is very divisive in the community. I'm actually surprisingly on the train that she's like, well, she's obviously really good, but she's
yeah.
definitely a character that I feel gets owned by like she's very polarizing. There's a lot of matchups that are very unintuitive for her. Is
Yeah.
how I'd imagine, right? How did he do it, or was the Joker just there for
The
the
Joker
shit
definitely
stuff?
helped a lot because before there was only a short amount of time where it was solo Zero Suit. So at the start of the game, he played Crom and Roy. It was like the main two.
Yeah,
You know, Math player comes plays Crom and Roy. That makes sense.
yeah,
He Zero Suit, the way he talked about it, he just made Zero Suit sound like a very simple character. Like he was just using it to zone out people. He just used side B a lot, just nair pressure shield, and then just kind of have control over a lot of the situation where
damn,
he knew that a lot of people weren't really thinking about it all that much, at least
smart
in the
guy,
local
huh?
scene. He's just so he's just a cerebral boy. I think he was just good with Zero Suit pretty quickly because to him it didn't take that much like effort.
Yeah,
And then when he started putting in the effort, that was with Joker. And that's when he had hundreds of odd review hours, hundreds of training mode hours, and he's all of a sudden added. It seems like out of the woodworks, but
was it the mod
he was
pack or
he
was
was
it
really
just
putting in
straight
the
up training
time.
mode?
That was no mod pack. He
No
was
mod
just
pack. I had a
he was
feeling it was no mod
a
pack.
more to the ground gamer.
People, one thing for all the mid-level guys is they all get so caught up in like the I need this,
It's
I need
true,
that,
yeah.
I need all these different little gadgets, and actually you just need the drive, and if you have a will, you have the way. And it's so funny how many like top players I know that like don't even have the mod pack, and
Yeah, for
they
sure.
just like the resourcefulness of the mind comes from this drive, I think. And I think that is what is key, really. Not to say the mod pack's bad, right? I think the mod pack's amazing, but it is the thing that people don't get is that it's not what makes them them, you know.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the goal with I think this is most top players, but the goal with training mode is always just to get those inputs down to muscle memory. So when you show up to the friendlies, you don't have to think about your controller. You don't have to think about your hands. You can instantly think about the game
Yeah.
and truly be in it and be
I
able
want to
to
make a
apply
video on
everything
that.
straight away.
There was a fucking, you know that I'm not a science guy. Just to say this, but I know that
But
there's something like you have like something in your brain or like the cells and that link to the brain or the neural network thing, the thing that like creates like a link between like an idea concept into muscle memory,
oh, yeah.
right? Like not neural network or like
I kind of get the tangent you're going on.
yeah,
for
but
sure.
it's kind of like that, right? If you can speed up that process,
Yeah.
right, then you know you spend less amount of mental effort, you know, thinking about it and doing it, and that's the same as like your inputs, you know.
Something I remember that shouldn't really correlate to Smash, but something that like unironically helped me was I remember reading about Michael Phelps's like pre warm up training, and he would just do from the second he woke up, he'd do everything the same. So when he got to like the
I'll
competition, which was
definitely
swimming or
listen to a
whatever,
video of that.
yeah, he would just be able to just muscle memory and do it all, and then just be able to instantly put in any improvements in. But he'd just get rid of all variables. He'd just do
All
everything. As,
That
like, the same he
is
could.
fucked. Like just to kind of end this tangent, how fucked
Yeah.
it is to have the mental strength to completely ignore and eliminate like the world, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's actually inspiring. It's very, very inspiring. And there's a reason why he's one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it kind of makes you think like it's all in here. You know, it all comes back. You know, Mango was right. You know, maybe swimming. It's all in here. So who knows?
Mango and Scar are always right, man. They've got a brain on them.
Yeah, Mango Scar Toph. You know. Oh man, but all right. We're running a bit over time because I don't know. I'm really enjoying. No, don't apologize. It's just and like this is the thing that I kind of realized with podcasts is, you have a plan, but it never always goes perfectly to plan. You know, a lot
Yeah.
of the time, like you kind of just like have an idea and you talk about it with someone, and then you get lost in the conversation, and it's I'm all for it. It's really cool. And
Yeah, for sure. It's what makes for the good content. It's
yeah,
being able
yeah, and
to,
I really
so that you're like
enjoy.
the people watching are kind of following along. They're like taking part in the conversation. It's like it's a more enjoyable experience, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool impromptu kind of little tangents here. But just to keep back on track then, because we there are some things that I really do want to talk about. Like, let's talk about 2022. So
Okay.
COVID happened, got your bit with Spud. 2021, yeah, 2022. This is when the majors happened. So let's talk a bit about that. How did you, first off, before let's talk about your performance, right? Because I mean the year is basically ended, right? The
Yeah,
next
pretty
major
much.
is the action. So, um, but before that, what did you envision going into 2022? So, did you have a plan? Were you like, I want to get back on the AUS PR? Or were you like, let's more mellowed out? What was your vision?
By the time 2022 came around, I was definitely more mellowed out. Like throughout 2020, 2021, when I was playing Spud, playing Pocket a lot, the drive was definitely there to like as soon as the gates opened, because we kept getting teased of like COVID ending and like all that stuff. It's like
Dude,
as soon as I could, I was gonna go try and win straight away.
yeah.
But then by the time 2022 came around, a lot of people like Spud and Poppet weren't attending at the time. It's like okay, I've sorted out I like moved into this new place. I got a new job. It's like okay, it's like a different priority set, but I still care a lot about the game.
Yeah.
So the first major BAM, I definitely went in with the goal of just reevaluating where I was. So I had no clue what to expect. I could get 33rd, and just that would be fine.
Yeah.
I could be like a top 8er, and that would be like expected. Like I have no clue. So I kind of wanted to have a longer trip, just so I could truly figure out where I was,
Like an
like if it was worth,
introspective trip.
yeah, like see where everyone else was at, see like what I could do, what is realistic in the future. And I think I kind of got that from BAM because I had the tail of this year. I had some very good pre-locals,
You did.
and then
You definitely showed that you can still you know how to beat the best players. You know.
yeah, I remember the first tournament I went in actually the first pre-local. I like spontaneously changed my flight to fly in 2 days earlier, and then I lost to P9 at Pixel, and I was like
Oh, it was that
shit.
pixel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember. You
and then I
played
was on the train back.
Me Brawler, right?
Not into that one. I
No,
did
no, no.
into Seb, who I ended up listening to as well.
Yep.
But I remember on the train back to the B&B, I was like sunk in place. I was like thinking about it. Like, dude, is like WA the difference? Like, are people too good now? Is the game too like far forward? Is it worth me keeping up? Like, I thought a lot in that like 1 hour travel session.
Dude,
But
yeah,
then it all kind
those
of just
PTV rides, they do something to you. It's
yeah, dude.
yeah.
And
But
then
what did
I kind
you?
of thought about it.
What was the like? You said that you came to some conclusions for the trip, right? Like what were some of those? If you want to share.
Yeah, I definitely realized that I could still keep it up. Like, I had that EBS where I beat DD, took a game of Jono, took a game of Strix, and I'm like, okay, this is the type of performance I would have wanted back in 2021. This is what I was kind of aiming for. So I kind of realized that that was still possible, and I was kind of starting to play a bit more how I felt like I should. I spent a lot of 2021 trying to become a bit more cerebral, trying to learn a bit more about the game because I felt like I'd kind of been going at it still with that head against the wall. I'm just gonna like be the best by like sheer force power.
Sheer will, you know.
Yeah, but I started trying to spend the end of COVID reevaluating how I thought about the game, what I could learn from playing with people. So I went into BAM kind of with that, and then having that new mindset and having a good tournament was definitely a huge confidence boost. I like went into BAM like okay, I feel like I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. And then BAM went pretty alright. We had a good best of 5. I
Oh, I
played Jix as
actually
well.
totally forgot that we actually played at BAM. Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ended up playing
It was
Jix
a
as
fun
well.
set.
Sorry,
Uh,
no, sorry. You ended up playing Jix as well.
Yeah, I played
And
Jix
oh,
and
sorry,
losers.
no. You played. So we played in winners round one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I beat P9, which was fun run back. I'm like, okay,
I did
good.
watch that.
I'm not actually farmed by this guy. This is good. And then
You
I
had
think
a little pop up as
straight
well.
after
I
that,
remember.
I was riding the high that tournament of just like adrenaline. I kind of started to feel the state pride that I hadn't really felt before.
Damn.
And then I was feeling really good about being on stage because we played the crew battles first in WA1, and I was like popping off every stock there.
You
I had my
also
set versus Connor.
Connor. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
dude.
I was watching it and I was like, dude, like, so game one was dominant, and then game two was like Connor is doing something,
Yeah,
and
he's
then
doing
and then you like had this freaky sequence, and then you popped off, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
like this is
I was loving the
crazy.
crowd, and I like at this time I'm already good friends with like Zav and stuff, and me and Zav kind of talk about it's like the cringiest shit, but there's some Tom MK layer like beast in there. Where he just
Oh
like
yeah,
has some comeback factor for sure.
yeah.
I think it's just the confidence of like never really being out of it from starting as a little Tasmanian boy, but just I'm always pretty happy to try and do a comeback. And then
Definitely,
when
it
that
feels
happened, that was a
really good
huge
to
dude.
make
That
like
felt so good.
consequential, like sequential wins and advantage state over and over to get that like one thing. I
Yeah,
remember you actually, oh, maybe it wasn't like sequential, but you definitely had like a moment in game five of our set where you got the up smash. I don't know if that was like a comeback or not. Um,
I don't remember. It was like a comeback set because I think he went up 2-0 at the start. It was like
combat set for sure.
yeah,
Game three and four, I remember you watched me, and then game five, I was like, oh, okay, Ernest, it's like this is it. So,
yeah, for
and
sure.
I probably got the lead game five, I
I
think,
think so. And
because
then after that, I think I got up smash. They didn't kill.
you
And
got
then
the
I
up
remember
smash.
after
You know,
that,
you jumped out of your seat
dude,
actually.
I got sour spot, dude.
Yeah, I
It was
know.
so, I was
It
so
was.
oh
I was like, oh, that's it. And then I'm like, oh, I'm alive. And I was like, what the
and then
heck?
you spent like the next 30 seconds just trapping the shit out of me because like we're both above 100.
Yeah,
And
we
you
were
were just
freaking.
like covering my options with like nair ones and like jabs and F tilts and moves that just wouldn't kill, but you just kept covering me. And I'm like, how do I land? How do I escape?
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I want to
Yeah.
win neutral. That's it. Oh man. And then, oh, there was this fucked moment where you were on the plat, I think, and then I shield broke, and then you parried it. Maybe no, you weren't on the plat. It was like a shield break or something, right? No, no, no. I killed you because you F tilt. You did the Nairo on the plat, actually.
Oh yeah.
That was tragic. But I remember that we did like neutral scrambles in this small little space of Smashville,
Yeah, it was
right?
Smash Shoot, dude. It was
And
so
then
small.
it was like this guy's just continuously running and shielding, so I'm gonna shield break his ass. And then I think you spot dodged it or something crazy, just like avoided it. And I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Dude, one thing about that is I have as most people do, I have a notes server in Discord.
Yeah,
And there's in the Poppet notes or there's Poppet slash Lucina notes.
yeah.
There is a GIF just to make sure I remember. And it's me doing I would do a nair, and then after the nair on shield or after the nair would whiff or the nair would hit shield, I would always hold shield afterwards.
Oh my god,
And
that's
I just had
crazy.
a GIF of me doing that and getting shield broken. Instantly cut. It was a 2-second GIF. I would like this is the thing that keeps happening.
You need to tell me how to make gifs, man. Gifs are the future. I need to get on that shit.
It's huge. I didn't remember that. I used to do it on Premiere
That's
Pro. But yeah,
that's
that was
really
a,
funny.
that was like a huge thing that used to happen a lot. I would just hold shield after like a scrap. And just
Stimulus check. Actually,
Yeah.
just like don't get shield broken after doing falling
Yeah.
like landing aerial.
So not losing to that was definitely a huge moment.
Yeah, I was actually so surprised. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, so you realize that hey, coming into Victoria, I got even though like I might not have gotten like an ideal BAM, I still had pre-local. I still had like a good performance, and I
And I
can
met the goal. I reevaluated kind of where I was and what I could do, and that's kind of all I wanted to do. All I needed to do it.
yeah, okay, and then we move forward. Phantom.
Yeah, the next one. Oh yeah, Phantom, because that's after. Yeah, yeah, don't know. All that talk about Bam, I don't know what happened to Phantom. The whole month I was sunk in place. Like
The whole
tournaments
month.
just weren't going well. Yeah,
Oh
it was
shit.
before Phantom, so and I go into Phantom.
Tournaments weren't working well. Like you weren't winning.
I was still winning over here, but I think I was just kind of losing like enjoyment. I was getting very angry at myself for like messing things up, and that would kind of snowball into just not having a good time at events.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so like if inputs went wrong, I'd just be like, ah, dang it, I'd just start playing worse, and then I'd like actually get upset, and I had events where I wouldn't have a good time, which like hadn't been the case ever.
Damn.
And then I go into Phantom. Every pre-local goes bad. I lose to Cry at one of them. I lose to Sayhnim from Tasmania.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
I'm losing left, right, and center. Yeah.
Wait, you played Sayhnim as well, and then you lost to that, like lost to him,
Yeah.
and
And then,
that's yeah. There's history in that too. Damn. Okay, that
I mean,
actually
obviously, I was over the
recontextualizes
moon for him,
everything
so it was
for
like that.
that.
I kind of became happy for that day because I'm like, okay, he's good. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is sick.
Okay.
But yeah, Phantom came around. I was also kind of focusing on melee. Like when I got there and I realized Ultimate wasn't going well, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and do well in melee.
Yeah.
And then it was like going okay, but not perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was kind of just the tournament kind of flew by without no great performances, but I had a great time socially. Kutz and Chef went. We were all
Don't worry,
chatting,
I was
having
the
a great
exact
time.
same. I was the exact same. Trust me.
And then that's kind of how that event went.
And then
What's
what
the next
was
one? Big Cheers.
I think so. I'm not sure whether there was something in the middle. No, it was Big Cheese and then Pissmas.
Yeah. Okay.
Did
So
you go to
I remember
Pissmas?
also I did go to Pismas.
Fuck, you did. I did watch that. Oh my god.
With characters, I remember at BAM I was starting to work in the Me Brawler into the roster, and then
Yeah.
played solo Palu over like the actual BAM weekend, but I was working it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Phantom, I was solo Palu because I was kind of just like, I at the time I thought that was the answer.
Yeah.
I thought I was kind of done with the counter pick, whatever.
Yeah.
But after Phantom, I kind of realized my place with Me Brawler and like what he's useful for, and kind of how I could use the secondary, not just to cheese people, but to like learn the game differently.
Mm-hmm.
Because like with Peach and stuff, I had a huge struggle with like Zav just doing crazy Peach smash on shield and like
Yeah.
Diddy and like a lot of those faster characters. It's like, okay, even like I'm using Brawler to get out of those scenarios, but also just so I can actually learn how to deal with them and then I can reapply it.
Yeah, like I think the beauty with Brawler is that you get like instant bursts of momentum to separate,
Yeah.
and then that separation gives you like another kind of like angle to look at a situation from, and you're like, oh, like there's spots here I can abuse here, and then you're like, can I apply this with Palu?
Yeah,
Or
so being able to reevaluate the situation and then also just being confident in the mess of it all and the scramble of just like I know even if I can't react to every option here, like if I press this button, I'm more likely than not gonna win the situation just from
yeah, just
objectively looking at
probabilities,
the two
right?
characters' options, yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Big Cheese I kind of brought it back into the roster. I like actually going into the Big Cheese pre-locals, I played Brawler because my controller wasn't working very well.
Oh shit.
I'm like Brawler's actually easier. I'm gonna play Brawler. And it works really well, and I'm like, shit. Okay, cool.
Damn,
And then,
I didn't know
again,
that.
pretty
Yeah.
pretty good pre-locals. I beat Taito a lot, which I was confident in because I'd played turn-up screen intro a lot.
Right.
Beat Fez, beat Heaven, beat
That's a lot of
was
good
like-
wins, actually.
Yeah, there was 3 tournaments and I only lost to 7 troops.
Damn.
So it's okay. It's pretty good. And going into the weekend, I definitely built that confidence, and again had a pretty good event. I played Jix round 2 winners, and went game 5 again, and then
Game
lost to
5.
Flo in losers, with like a pretty good set. So it was just a
You actually looked pretty good for the end of it, and then I remember he just
Yeah,
had
I got
he
clutched
just
on.
had one stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
a
think
that's a
throughout the
first stock.
event, I was feeling
I've
pretty
been
good.
there, brother. I've been there.
Yeah. It was one of those ones that sucks, not because you played bad, but just because like this is devastating because I was playing well. It's like okay, I could have gone further.
It's so evil.
Yeah.
It sucks so much because it's like, oh, I can like see myself winning this because I'm actually
Yeah,
doing well,
exactly.
and then it just gets taken away in a flash, and it's like it's the worst because it's like, it's like it's almost like you're put out of your like situation of like you're doing well and neutral and advantage, and then you get put into one disadvantage and you'll make one small error,
Yeah.
and then that error costs you the stock in which you didn't think it would, because you
I
just
was
kind of
like
like
pretty
move
happy
forward.
in post because a lot of my issues in both my losing sets came from just me struggling to find a kill and to like commit on the last stock. I was just doing a lot of retreating backer, a lot of Palu-esque backers on Brawler. It's like okay, I'm kind of hoping that enough pressure or enough time will kind of bring me the kill,
Mm.
and then it wasn't really putting on the pressure. So I kind of got to rethink about how I play those last stock situations, and that's a lot I learned after that event, which was pretty good.
Yeah, and that must be nice, right? Like when you
Yeah.
can kind of look back at a set and be like, oh, it's actually only like I can see why I lost, and it's only because of one or two things that I can very easily like envision and play around for the future. And
Yeah,
if
after
that
an
means that I
hour,
can
like
beat
because
them,
Phantom was a bit of an unsure time, but like after like a bit of time after the loss, I felt really good about like what I could learn and how I did at the event. So that
yeah,
it went pretty well.
yeah,
And next one's Pismas,
damn,
which I
pisses.
kind of went into with a different point. I went in intending to win. Like I tried to do very specific matchup practice for the struggle matchups that would be in top eight.
Rob.
Yeah, like I kind of looked into Rob a little bit. I looked into Rob after Big Cheese just because I played Seb so many times.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then what
Uh,
Pissmas, like the threats going into it are like
Diddy
Kazuya,
Kong,
says
Kazuya.
Heaven and Negama, Steve with Chicks, and I think Tractorbase was in my bracket.
Yeah.
Um, Peach because I lost to Zavalot and he was there, and then I think I have the document. Let's have a look. But those are the
Snake.
main ones.
Snake because of Finn or no?
I actually didn't do too much on Snakes. I wasn't really sure
Probably
how
not.
well
Yeah.
he would do. Diddy obviously
Diddy.
because
Yeah.
Chicks, and then a little bit of Wolf, just in case the old bro one came out. But yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of went in. I was spending all my locals before that just practicing with characters that played those characters, like in Perth at least. I was playing against William Jaeger, who plays Kazuya. I was playing against Turn Up, who were talking about the matchups. I like ended up losing to one of our Steve players, 3-0, and I was like over the moon about it because I got to learn a shit ton, and then I played him back,
That's so good, right?
and
Yeah.
then yeah, then won pretty handily. I'm like, okay, this feels so good. I feel very confident going into it. And then again, the pre-local goes great. I like beat everyone. I only lose to Seb, but I beat Seb for the first time, and I'm like, this is sick. Playing both characters as well, a lot of me brawler.
Yeah.
And then into the major, I feel like I did pretty good. Except the one problem that comes in with a lot of pre-preparation is that the curveball, which was insert name, came out of nowhere.
Man,
I was like, damn.
the prince that was promised.
No one hit me
no one
too
saw.
mentally, but yeah, on the day, just wasn't as prepared as I could have been.
It's so funny. It's kind of like some of these titans of the game. They always come back, and it feels like they don't lose anything. Like
I trust that because he like kind of quit multiple times, and he
Right.
just comes around, and he's kind of like quit at the moment. And he just keeps coming.
He is in a pretty healthy spot, I think, where I think he's like he never does like the formal announcement of quitting. I feel he actually just ended up getting a girlfriend and just like living life and doing other stuff like work.
Yeah,
He
I guess
works
he's
a lot
only
and
the
stuff.
hard quit was just WoW Classic, which I mean, fair
I mean,
enough. He was
that's just like
kinda good at that game too.
empowerment, brother. Like, good on you, you know.
Yeah.
But then yeah, I think he more so was just like, oh, because I talked to him about it, right? Because he was like,
Yeah.
I actually don't have as much investment in this game anymore, but I still get upset when I fuck shit up when I play at the occasional locals. Right? I don't like the misinput and stuff. And I was like talking to him about it, and he kind of was in a good mental space about it. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he seemed pretty chill. I like talked to him at the event, so I was like surprised to see him, and I'm like, what are you doing here? You kind of just happened to have a good opportunity to go. Kind of talked about his mental a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he's in a good spot, but it was just kind of cool because it's like, yeah, like you guys had that set up, you know.
Yeah, and the
way
times I
back.
did beat him were back with obviously years ago, and with PT specifically.
Pokemon.
Like there's a
training.
lot of knowledge into like swapping characters, so I was always out of now fair range and like just doing a lot of matchup specific stuff, and then it comes around and it's like, okay, well now that's not even on the cards. I'm not gonna bother.
That's cool.
So we played a pretty good. I think I played the matchup the best I ever had, but you know sometimes you just
you take away the X Factor Nair on Plat, like Nair into Tech Chase kill.
Yeah,
Like you were doing like quite well, I think.
I was pretty happy with like keeping that stage open in game 1 because I think neutral is very good for Palu there.
Yes.
But in game 5, giving the kind of the dream run into the X Factor stage might have not been the smart play, but
Yeah, I think there's also a bit about like the fact that at least in my head, the way I like logicked it was like, even though you might be really dominant on that stage, it's also like you give the low like the worst character strengths as opposed to letting them, you know, be bare out in the desert and like struggle, because it's like
it was kind of
the confinement means that they're all of a sudden they're two insanely good moves, which is like nair and up air, like have way more threat because it's confined, right?
Yeah, it
That's
was
kind of how I.
definitely a bit of a miscalculation because I remember like I've been taking Pikachu and Diddy to town as Palu, which is like it's a different situation because they're good characters and their good options are only getting slightly better.
Hmm.
I kind of was thinking about it in that like perspective, but I'm like, okay, wait, instead of this character's good options getting better, he's just having like decent options that become great.
Yeah.
So the jump is way different. So I'm
And
like,
yeah,
okay,
it's like a this character's not that great, but I'm just all oh shit. I'm just all of a sudden making this character like
yeah,
way better than he needs to be. So
yeah.
that's a bit
And then I had a
dangerous.
good set with Seb. Like I think
Yeah.
in neutral I played very good. I think I was like I've just been playing that matchup pretty well recently.
Hmm.
Lost to get into some clutch factors, some X factor moments, but I can't be too upset about. Like obviously upset at the time because it's like, oh, dang, I
I
wanted
mean, it
to like
just
take
sucks,
it
right?
all, and
Like
I
you
felt
could
like
have
I
had it.
could.
Yeah.
Like the last stock was lost to me buffering something at a down throw at like 60. It was like, ah, okay, grim. But
Yeah.
the whole set like went pretty well, and like the fact that I went in wanting to win, and the whole time I was there while I was playing, everyone was money matching every set I played. It was very doable. It was very there. Like it feels very rewarding. So
Yeah, like kind of like that locked in kind of
yeah,
mental and like the intent to go in and like do well, and then you kind of come out and you're like, job well done, you know,
yeah,
pretty
pretty
good.
much.
That must be a satisfying feeling, I think.
It is.
Um,
It's always satisfying, like having something to learn. Because that was a big struggle when I first started playing. Because I wasn't really too cerebral, so I just didn't come out of events. Like I kind of learnt where I was at, and I learnt some like new people I could be, and I could try harder. But I wasn't really learning new key things.
mm.
So now that I'm doing that this year, I'm kind of taking a lot more out of each event, and I think it's helping a lot.
So I guess this year would kind of be like your year of like deep reflection of like not just you outside the game but inside the game as well, right?
Yeah,
Like,
reflection for sure. I mean, one thing I'll touch on quickly, just because
go ahead.
I feel like it's important. Fryd Ryce coming in, being the goat. He we talked a lot after his like good performances at Big Cheese and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of makes me realize that this late in the game, there's like different things I can focus on. Like just going to the local and winning every time isn't really gonna make me much better, and that's kind of shown by the fact that I have like 100x local wins under my belt, and Fryd has like two. But
Give
just
me
like the fact that
can you give us like a tiny little hint on some of the stuff that you guys talked about that opened your eyes a bit?
really just and we both kind of discussed this. There's this Ramsey's video about what you can take away from Wi-Fi, because obviously he plays a lot of Wi-Fi, so there's something.
That's so fucked because I literally was when I watched that I was like that's fried rice. Like
Exactly.
I actually thought about that because okay, I'll impose for a bit, sorry. But
Yeah,
my
all
theory is like the reason why he's so strong and he only plays Wi-Fi out of it is because it's like he doesn't I think he's smart enough and aware enough to realize the benefits of Wi-Fi, right? And not fall under the pitfall of the curse of it, like the reliance on Wi-Fi strats that exclusively work Wi-Fi. Like he takes the fundies out of Wi-Fi and apply it. Like
Yeah.
and he can take that, right? And that kind of like idea of oh, recognizing using like a refresh rate when to like where I can approach and when I can create situations that are set in my favor. I think he understands that like shit's unreactable, but if he can react to a spot and be like, okay, I'm allowed to set up these spots here and like develop really good like macro like strats and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That
that's definitely his key strength, and yeah, it's something we talked about a bit, and then I've kind of been going into locals a lot more, like, because that was after Big Cheese, so I went
yeah.
before Pissmas, just making sure I'm going in with like something to learn,
Mm-hmm.
like things to take away, matchups, specific practice, and just shit like that. And now Fryd's attending a lot more. One thing I think that helped Fryd as well is I think you've talked about it before, but he never fell into the trap of like wanting to get one spot higher on the ranking, like doing whatever that took, just because like obviously it's not going to make you any better if your numbers one better.
Yes.
Like he's not just looking for that number; he's looking for like actual improvements as a player,
Yeah.
because he doesn't know when the next time he's going to like have his skill evaluated. He's like waiting for the next major where he wants to do really well, and that's all that really matters. So he's just spending the whole year like truly just improving as a player instead of chasing some kind of fake statistic or goal or whatever.
How old is he?
Fryd is just a young boy. Fryd's 16 or 17.
He's so smart. for his age. I remember when I was
It's
16,
crazy,
I
man.
was like, I just need, I need that 8 KDA, man. I need that 8
Yeah,
KD
dude,
on
I was the
Call of
same,
Duty,
man.
dude.
Everyone was the same.
Oh, and he's like figuring out like the Da Vinci Code of Pikachu, and I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck? I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by him. Like every time I like watch his play, and I'm like, he's so mature, and him,
It's crazy.
Kanaji, like we have so much talent, and like we have a like our country. We have potential. You know, it's
Yeah,
really
like
good.
seeing Fryd is like my first experience to like what actual talent I think looks like. Because not just talent to like suddenly be pretty okay at the game, but just he's so able to learn,
Yes,
and not many people just have that off the bat. It's so crazy to just see,
I
like from the outside and from the
my
inside.
theory is that he somewhere down the line was like had to learn that discipline, and he's just smart enough, that big brain IQ to like apply it to something that he cares about.
I mean, you're
And
gonna have to interview him eventually. You can find out.
hey, you know, maybe I will. Maybe, who knows? That's a good idea. But enough about old mate Fried Rice, or young mate actually Fried Rice. Um, so seems like pretty introspective year for you. What's the plan next year? What's the play for Luma, Thomas Parish?
It's kind of hard because Smash Bros. Talk cancellation, Nintendo, all that stuff.
It's pretty
But
devastating, right?
if you kind of kick that out of the window, the plan is definitely win an Oz Major. It's definitely a plan. I just want to have that before I go out.
Yeah.
I would like to do, like, I think moving to Vic's long past, just because I don't know how long the game has left. It's like just not the smartest decision as a person. I'm pretty
Well,
happy here.
what if the next game comes out? You know.
Yeah, I'm there in a heartbeat. I'm
Yeah,
in
well,
Victoria.
you're in a good spot being in Vic if the
Yeah.
next game comes out, right?
If the game comes out, I would happily do silly decisions and break a lease just to go move to Melbourne. Like that's
Right.
definitely on the cards. But yeah, for now it's just try and win a major. I want to go to Singapore, go to see a major, do at least one or two
Damn,
international trips.
everyone wants to go to Seam, hey?
I've been to Singapore 2 or 3 times growing up, and it's like it's just a sick place. And I
Right.
obviously know a lot of people. There's been like 3 or 4 Singapore players that have visited or moved to WA. So there's like a bit of a
Awesome.
connection here as well.
Who?
Well, we had Carrots, who's actually just gone back for an extended stay. We
Yeah.
have Killshow, who's a music artist, who's just going back now
Cool.
for military service, and then we had Burb, who went to Yoha for the
Burb, yeah.
Australia. Yeah, he did an extended stay in Singapore for study or teaching. I forget.
Mm. And we have reps
Yeah.
now as well, but I don't know how long he's
Do you
gonna
guys
be.
have reps?
No,
I
no.
did say
Okay,
he's-
so not have. I think he's here to like extended trip, something like that.
that's enough of a like
He's
more
being
than- more
he's
than 2 months
basically
is, like,
active.
pretty big.
He's basically active for the season, so he's been here like he's gone to a
Hell
fair
yeah.
few amount of stuff. So
That's so sick.
yeah, it is. Rebs is really cool. Yeah, Seam, that's a play.
Yeah, seems to play. Just kind of keep on learning with what I can. Because like, even if there's no majors, I've kind of learned that there's a lot more I can take out of locals. A lot more I can take out of playing online. A lot more I can take out of people, like talking to people like Fryd.
Funny the cyclical nature of that, like your journey, right? Like you learned what resourcefulness, like the benefits of resourcefulness is of choosing every ooze of the lemon, and then you have like your moments of tribulations, and then you come back and like there's way more that I can still get out of it.
Yeah, I think like the moments of isolation over the year with like COVID and stuff, it's like okay, I felt like my way was the right way, and I was like just eventually gonna get there. But then you realize this is not the case. Like there's always so much more you can do.
So yeah, COVID, man. But hey, like, okay, it seems like you've kind of set some really good like kind of paths for you mentally. Like not so much being like dogmatic in your approach.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's gonna like cross over into real life as well. Like learning how to learn and create good like schedules and
Yeah.
do things that help you just have a steady mindset. Just helps every aspect of your life. So there's no harm in focusing on that for a little bit.
Aside from Seam, do you have any hopes to travel internationally?
I still have a good amount of savings that was intended for that. So
Mm.
there's definitely a dream there. If a major comes up that looks good,
Maybe some of your other
then
mates like are deciding to go as well. Then you're like,
yeah, I think if
could
I get
try.
any connection of like a Perthy or someone just like I'm closer with, because like Didi and Jono and all they travel a lot, it kind of feels like they're on their own path.
Mm.
But like if we can get a like a homie trip going, or if there's just a major that like sparks, if post all this Smash Bros tour stuff happens, and then there's like another tour like SmashCon or something, just like there's just another huge major where everyone's rejoicing. That might be the point where I like pull the trigger and finally just go to that big one.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I guess so. Do you have any like very quickly? Do you have any slight predictions on the 2022 Oz PR? Do you have any shout outs you want to make for notable players that you wish to compliment? You know, aside like we've
Shout
sung
outs
praise
Fryd,
Fryd, right?
endlessly.
Yeah,
Shout outs Fryd. But another my road dog Kutz
Kuts.
is when I first moved here, I remember after Oasis, that tournament with Leon, there was a conversation we had at the back of this after party where the topic was like who's going to be the next people on the Perth PR, and Kutz was like a 1-2 at the time, but there was like just something I saw in him. Everyone was saying like Kosk and all these other people. I was like, no, it's gonna be this guy Kutz, and
No
then
way.
we kind of grinded together ever since, and
You believed in
now
him.
he's like just like he's learned from Tam. Now he's like the most driven player.
He's
Like
good. Like he's really good.
yeah, that like the PR here. No, not the PR. We are soon to release PR, but like the current level of players, it's like it's Fryd, me, then it's Kutz and Turn Up are very close. Like he's in that top 4 bracket now. That kind of didn't seem like it was gonna happen this time last year. So I trust him to keep pushing me. He's kind of someone that I kind of put all my eggs in that basket, and it's finally hatching. So I think we're getting someone
I
that.
love that, and it's so great, like because I don't know, I didn't know anything about him at all gameplay wise until I saw him versus Zav. That was my first ever moment seeing him, and I
Dude,
was like,
imagine.
he's really good. What the fuck? And like my whole instance of him was like, this guy's just like a stand up personality, like straight up funny, amazing guy, and it's like he's also just got that dog in him, dude.
Yeah,
Like
he can gaff the bits. He can have a good time, but then his brain is truly in it. He knows what he has to do to improve. He has such a good like mentor for
yeah,
the game,
that's yeah, it's
and he's such a new dog. He's like an ultimate
he's a new guy.
like fresh
Him
baby,
and
and then even
Chef,
still,
like
he's only been
Chef,
good for like a
Chef
year.
as well.
Yeah,
He wants that as well, and I'm
and they came up together, and Chef was kind of the first hunting. Like at Phantom, Chef almost beat Newt, and I was like, oh shit,
yeah,
these two have some crazy sauce here.
yeah, it's definitely sick. Any other players you wanna compliment? Shout out. I thought it was talk like it doesn't actually have to be OzPR, by the way. Yeah, like good
Yeah,
Chef,
I was gonna
definitely.
say, besides for like just skill and defense, obviously shout outs Newt, my actual day one. We go through a lot of the Palutena
He's
issues
definitely the
together.
OG protege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But besides for just like skill wise, shout out to all the Perth people. Like the there's this like road dog crew of like two of like the two tours, the O tours, the one tours, and then like we're so interconnected now over here, where it's like there
That's
can be
really
40
sweet.
people to local, but we all know each other, and then on the weekend, 15 of us are out clubbing anyway, and like that's how I like spending all my weekends. Even if I'm not playing games with them, that's those are my guys. Like
That's
Stitchy,
awesome. That's awesome.
Jaeger, all those people.
Shit. It's like a interconnected community. Hey.
Yeah, dude. Perth is sick. You should come visit.
I do want to, but I have other money problems.
It's expensive. I don't play.
Yeah, but I'll one day.
We'll give you a reason eventually.
Oh, I mean, you don't need to actually give me a reason. Like, I'll go. Like,
mean-
I do intend to go on my own Warriors pilgrimage someday, where I just go.
To everyone else, we'll give you all a good reason eventually.
I love like I have zero. I don't need any more reasons to want to go. Like I like I love everyone there. Like I don't see like like any like oh there's no point in going XYZ. Like I'll go because it's new. Like it's new experiences and play anyone. But you
Yeah,
guys
I
are all
think, like,
great as well.
a
So
lot of people like really want to, but it's just because it's so expensive. They need that like one thing to kind of push them over.
life
They have,
pushes
like,
them back.
yeah.
Like yeah. But I guess yeah I'll kind of wrap this up a bit. I have two
Yeah, sure.
final questions for you.
Alright.
For all the gleamy-eyed rising stars out there, everyone that feels like they have a lot they want to prove, who want to improve at the game and get results, what advice do you have for them? One piece of advice, big one or small.
Big one. It's kind of the general topic of this, like,
I mean, this
but
whole
just
thing is
being,
pretty,
yeah,
yeah.
being like resourceful, being confident, and not like. There's no point comparing yourself to other people in other scenes just because they have it slightly better. They have slightly more resources. You can. There's always more that you can do in any circumstance. So you might as well just like make the most of where you're at, like help the people around you so they can help you, and just like you can always make it no matter where you're from. Like there's proof of that everywhere. There's people like MKLeo, Zero, like everyone. A lot of these like players that truly make it to the very top actually start
Zero
with the hardest path.
Chilean, you know. You can almost see it as like, if the odds are against you, then you have an advantage, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's the if you still want to do it when the odds seem against you, like that kind of proves that you have that dog. You really actually want to make it happen. That you're not just there for the sake of it.
Yeah.
So just be like proud of where you're from, and then just don't let your circumstances kind of define you.
I like that. That's Wow, that's very optimistic. Everything in It's just very funny talking to you where I'm so used to talking to like Vic, right? And
Yeah.
Vic's like, it's almost like it's like a machine. Or like, you ever know like in those like fictional pieces of literature where you have like the suburbias or maybe like the more rural places and there's a lot of heart in them, and then
Yeah.
the metropolis, the
Yeah.
Titanic like capital is so mechanical, it's so bustling. It's just I see it almost like it's Vic. It's like
Yeah, for
everything's
sure.
so cold here and stuff. Definitely benefits, right? Like obviously we're not like fucking evil, but it's very cute.
Yeah,
I
definitely
I
very
agree with everything
storybook.
you say, as well. Final question, and
Sure.
um, actually, well, I have two final questions, actually, but second final question is actually no, it is a final question. Um, so one drunk night at the BAM after party. I don't know if Anthony already told you, but Anthony came up to me and was like, Ernest, what's the difference? I told, what's the difference between Luma and him? And I told him while I was drunk, I just told him it's experience and it's confidence. Um, I feel like if he just kept going, he'll eventually get to where you are, right? There is very, very tiny, like little to no, like severe difference, It's just
Yeah.
that he has that like confidence to commit to places where you still are a bit afraid of. There's no like fucking huge thing that he sees that like you aren't seeing. That's like you'll get there eventually. Do you agree? What do you disagree? And what do you think are the differences then?
You're pretty close to like hitting the nail on the head there. I think just experience and just the confidence to try like new things and try out new things. Because we know like Anthony, he's a bit stubborn. If things don't work out, he kind of just gets upset about it. But
Yeah.
I think like recently he's been improving a lot. He's had good major performances. I think
Yes.
like there are things that we talk about a lot, like the use of like different pally throws, different tilts, different like niche situations where
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of something I've been using for a long period of time, but it's kind of taken to kind of learn it on his own for him to want to use it. I think
Yeah.
he needs to find things himself. So all I can kind of do is like lead him in the right path, and I feel like he just wants to grow on his own. Where I feel like I'm more willing to grow with the people. I think it's just kind of because when he came up in Tasmania, there was kind of no one left. I was like just about to leave, so he was kind of the last dog, and he had to do it again. Where I kind of came up with the group.
Mm.
So I think he just
He's like
he's more wanting to do it on his own. Yeah.
he's like Guts before he met the Band of the Hawk. He had to do everything by himself. And you're like Guts during the peak of the Band of the Hawk, where he's real. Oh, actually, he's like Guts now, where he has his crew, and he's just like figuring out how to like take from the benefits of friends and like learn together. And he's still in his jaded phase. He's like, "Don't touch me." but then
Yeah.
he'll talk to you a bit. Oh
He's
my
like
god.
upset about a few like hard matchups and stuff. It kind of shows where he'll just be like, "Oh, dude, what are you meant to do?"
Yeah.
And then I'll talk. I'm still pretty. The optimism shows even on those. I'm like, yeah, okay, Palu actually just hard fucks Pikachu on Town City. I don't care. Like,
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah,
This cute kind of aside to you. Maybe like a cute little protege. I won't timestamp it so that I'll force him to.
make you watch the whole thing. It might be
Yeah,
in the
he has to
middle.
watch the whole
Who
thing to
knows?
find it. But yeah, well, thank you very much, Thomas. I
That's all
appreciate
good, man.
all your time spent for this evening. You're a busy
I
guy.
appreciate your time. That's all good. Like even just talking about it kind of makes you think about it retrospectively and kind of
Reconsolidate
appreciate
things,
where
right?
you're at.
Yeah, right. It's always kind of like nice to kind of look back about where you started, where you are now.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely still shocks me that yeah, like you, Saint and Ripto, like all
The groove, dude.
yeah, and then look at you guys now. It's really cool. But I won't keep any more time, and this is like my bedtime as well, so I need to
I
go.
still gotta go cook dinner, so that's
Oh
my time now.
fuck, my bad.
It's only 8:30. We're all good. All
Oh,
good.
oh,
No
oh
work
shit, yeah, Perth. What the fuck? Anyways,
Crazy.
thank you very much.
That's all good.
And I hope I see you at the action.
Yeah,
All right,
the action.
cool. All right, thanks everyone for watching as well. But yeah, take care. Have a good dinner.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
No worries. Appreciate you, Luma. See ya.